Chapter 2204. He had been in closed-door cultivation for half a year, but he still hadn't mastered the dragon wrestling skill. Luli felt he had one foot in the door, but he still couldn't make it. It was a frustrating feeling. There was only a thin layer of paper left. He couldn't break through it and could only scratch his head in vain. Luli stopped cultivation after he was sure that he could not learn anything. Bottlenecks were bottlenecks because they cannot be broken through. Once they were broken through, it would no longer be a bottleneck. Boss, you have finished cultivation? Hosen had been enjoying himself for the past half a year. He used to be a team leader, but he didn't even manage the army during this time. He had been guarding in Luli's castle. He didn't want to manage the army, since they didn't respect him. Luli nodded. Noticing that Luli was not smiling, Hosen asked in a hurry, Boss, is it not going well? Yes. Luli frowned and asked, Is there anything strange in the valley recently? Did the patriarchs come to me? Yes. Hosen nodded and said, Twice. Once on the second day after you went into seclusion, and again a month ago. But I told them you were still healing. You activated the inhibition formation, so I could not wake you up. Well done. Luli praised him. Hosen continued, There is one strange thing. We have a deputy commander here, and he is a young master. I heard that 5 patriarchs went to greet him on the day he came. They were so proud. Deputy commander? A young master? Luli was alarmed out of instinct. How could a young master come to a place like this? Or to be the deputy commander? He was the chief commander. Did that mean that the young master had to be below him? A young master that could be greeted by several patriarchs had to be below him? Wasn't this a joke? Luli asked about Meng Li's situation in detail. Hosen didn't know much, but from this simple situation, Luli still felt something was wrong. Normally speaking, a young master like him would not come to a place like this. Even if he did, he would leave after a few days. Meng Li had been living here for more than a month. It seemed that he was going to stay here forever. Luli knew the situation in the ghost region very well. The monsters that were not suitable for training. The human-faced scorpion beasts and ghost worms were too weak. The ghost worms were soul attacks. Meng Li, the ghost king, would have to be suicidal. A person must have a reason for doing things. A young master like Meng Li would never do something so boring. They had too many things to do. The outside world was so prosperous, and they could enjoy such a beautiful life. Why did they come to this damned place to suffer? There was nothing here. He must have come here for the spirit world's divine medicine, or for himself. The divine medicines here were extremely precious, and many of them most likely had special effects, so they were extremely valuable. If this young master colluded with some elders and those people from the special army, it was not impossible for him to secretly obtain the divine medicine. Ignore him. Luli's eyes grew colder. If this young master didn't provoke him, he would let it go. But if he did, he would kill him all the same. In any case, no one would dare to make a move in the Ghost Valley. If he tried to kill this young master in the ghost world and burn his body to ashes, who would know that he was the one who killed him? Even though the patriarchs had come to him twice, Luli didn't want to see them. He continued to live leisurely in the castle. Hosen didn't want to go back to the army. He was living comfortably with Luli. Why should he go back to the barracks and be looked down upon? On the third day, Luli's comfortable days came to an end. The mansion of patriarchs sent someone to summon Luli again. This time, Luli cannot avoid them. After all, he had been seen by the mansion of patriarchs. Luli followed the man to a castle where Patriarch Yang was waiting for him. Patriarch Yang didn't smile when he saw Luli. He just asked, Commander Lu, are you feeling better? This old man doesn't like me. Luli had made a great contribution last time, but Patriarch Yang didn't say anything to praise him. Why was he so cold when he was expressing his concern? Patriarch Yang might be like this in his nature. But last time, many people saw him greet Meng Li in person, and he smiled like a dog. Since Patriarch Yang didn't smile, Luli wouldn't try to be nice to Patriarch Yang. He cupped his fists and said, Thank you for your concern, Patriarch Yang. I'm almost recovered. That's good. Patriarch Yang nodded, waved his hand, and said, Take a seat. You can get to know Deputy Commander when he comes. In half a month, you will lead 2 battalions to the ghost world. This time, There is an important divine medicine that needs to be collected. You need to go with them. Nothing can go wrong. Yes. Luli accepted the order. Inside, he was surprised. Special divine medicine? Did this mainly come for this divine medicine, or for him? If the bead was so important, then why didn't Patriarch Duo come in person to hold the fort? Luli couldn't figure it out. Patriarch Young wouldn't tell him either. He had to wait quietly for the mysterious deputy commander to show up. This wait lasted for more than 4 hours. Deputy commander had made the chief commander and a patriarch with real power wait for more than 4 hours. What did that mean? If it were anywhere else, the deputy commander would be severely injured, if not killed. Mengli was very handsome. Not the kind of handsome that a pretty boy would have, but really very handsome, especially the noble aura on his body. This was not something that a disciple of an ordinary family could cultivate, nor was it something that a disciple of a nouveau riche family could have. He didn't look down on Luli. He just looked at Luli and nodded slightly. Mengli cupped his fist to Patriarch Yang, bowed, and said, "Greetings, Patriarch Yang. I am late because of military affairs. Please forgive me." Patriarch Yang was taken aback. Then he stood up at once. It seemed that he was flattered, but he reacted quickly. He put on a solemn expression and said, "Commander Meng, you are busy with military affairs. How can I blame you? Come, let me introduce you. This is 4th Commander Liu. Commander Liu, this is Commander Mengli. He is our new deputy commander. I hope you can work together and manage military affairs well." Of course, Luli didn't smile much, and he didn't look too upset, but he was sneering inside. Mengli was talking about military affairs? Now, Patriarch Yang was talking about military affairs? Did he have military affairs? He could command an army? What a joke. After some small talk, Patriarch Yang set a mission for half a month later. This time, they were to go to the peak of the Ghost Mountain to collect a divine medicine. But Patriarch Yang didn't say what they were going to do. He just told them to go with the army and protect the army. Luli came back from the Patriarch Mansion and saw Hosan's sad face. Luli asked with a frown, "What is it?" "Boss, you have to save me." Hosan took Luli's hands and said, "Just now, our leader sent someone to tell me to go to the Ghost Realm with the army in half a month. This time, 2 battalions are going, and the other one is led by Commander Chow. Boss, you have to ask to go with us, or I will die a miserable death." "You're going as well?" "Commander Chow is going as well." Chapter 22:05. Luli cherished the half a month. He didn't go out at all and spent all his time studying the dragon wrestling skill. If he could make the final step in half a month, then he and Hosan would have a better chance of survival. Luli was only 1 step away. Sometimes this step was like a moat. If he could not make it, he could not. This kind of bottleneck was the most troublesome. For example, many warriors were stuck at the peak of several tribulations and could not make the breakthrough. They would be stuck there for the rest of their lives, which was frustrating. Half a month passed by quickly. What disappointed Luli was that he still could not make the final step of the dragon wrestling skill. He could not use the dragon wrestling skill until he had mastered it. This was what upset Luli the most. It would be great if he could multiply his strength. Luli went out as soon as the time was up. The warriors were gathering at the plaza, and Hosan was among them. Commander Chow and the other commander, Commander Long, had been waiting here for a long time. Commander Long was older, and his expression was old-fashioned and solemn. He and Commander Chow were polite. They cupped their fists and saluted to Luli. "Greetings, Commander." The warriors, on the other hand, were enthusiastic. They all got down on one knee. This commander's reputation was flourishing, but many soldiers had never seen him before. All of Commander Chow's subordinates had seen Luli, and he had saved their lives. They respected Luli even more. "Rise." Luli waved his hand calmly. To the warriors, he was more dignified. They would not be used to a big shot smiling at them. "Where is Deputy Commander? Have you sent someone to invite him?" Luli turned to Commander Chow. "He was here. Why was Mengli not here yet? Did he want him to wait for another 4 hours? What would happen to his dignity then? I have sent someone to invite him." Commander Chow nodded. His attitude was very respectful, but there was a strange expression in the depths of his eyes. It was hard to tell what it was. "Then let's wait." Luli waved his hand, and stood on the side in silence. He even closed his eyes as if he was resting. Even though his eyes were closed, he was secretly activating the trace of the great Tao. His senses were much sharper. He felt many people were looking at him. Many warriors were sneaking glances at him, but they were all filled with admiration and enthusiasm. There was no hostility. Commander Chow threw Luli a glance and then looked away. Even though it was just a glance, Luli sensed something special from Commander Chow's eyes. Killing intent. Just now, Luli already felt something was off. Now, he could sense it clearly. If it were not for the trace of the Great Path, he might not be able to sense it so clearly. A man would not show killing intent for no reason, not to mention that Luli once saved his life. Even though Li was disrespectful to Commander Chow before, it was not worth killing intent. What was going on? Luli did not know. But since Commander Chow dared to show his killing intent in front of so many people, it meant that Commander Chow had made up his mind to kill Luli. Luli felt worse and worse as he connected the dots. Why did Commander Chow want to kill him? He was not afraid of a peak third tribulation, but he did not know the cause of the matter, which made him feel inexplicably uneasy. Time went by bit. Luli became more and more agitated because Meng Li still hadn't come after waiting for an hour. This made him extremely angry. Time moved on. Luli was getting agitated. Meng Li had been waiting for an hour, but Luli didn't open his eyes. Meng Li squinted. Meng Li was late. After the time for 3 incense sticks to burn, Luli didn't open his eyes. Meng Li looked at him from the distance and squinted. Killing intent. Luli sensed it. It was weak, but it was real. Like Commander Chow, it was well hidden. But under the effect of the trace of Tao, there was nowhere to hide. Good. Luli laughed out of anger. This was a trap. It was not aimed at the elixir, but at him and Ho San. Meng Li and Commander Chow wanted to kill him. Ha ha ha. Meng Li walked over in strides. He cupped his fists and said, "Commander, please forgive me. I was delayed. Sorry to keep you waiting. Shall we go?" Luli opened his eyes. Coldness could be seen in his eyes. He looked at Meng Li and said, "Commander Meng, can you tell me what was delayed?" Meng Li was surprised. Luli waited for him at the residence of patriarchs for more than 4 hours without saying a word. In addition to Luli, even Patriarch Yang didn't dare to say a word. Why was he so serious this time? Wasn't it better for everyone to be clear about some things? Why did he have to wear it? Why did he have to be so formal? Meng Li didn't even think that Luli would ask him something, so he didn't know how to answer. He was embarrassed. He thought about it and said, "Commander, Patriarch Yang was looking for me. That is why I was delayed. How about I ask him to come and explain?" Since Luli was looking for trouble, Meng Li didn't mind embarrassing him in front of so many warriors. He could easily ask Patriarch Yang come. How could Luli argue with Patriarch Yang? Luli asked coldly, "Commander Meng, can you tell me why Patriarch Yang is looking for you? Tell me first. I will ask someone to confirm later." Meng Li's expressions changed. If so, he would be exposed. By then, he would not be able to step down. His eyes grew cold. What the hell was wrong with Luli? He wouldn't let Meng Li go. Did Luli really think he was somebody? Meng Li snorted. He decided not to give face to Luli. He said coldly, "Commander, are you looking for trouble with me for no reason? What a joke." Luli laughed out loud and shouted with awe-inspiring righteousness, "Meng Li, the mansion of patriarchs has already set the time to set off. Thousands of us are here. We have been waiting for you here for more than an hour, and you are late. That is fine. What is more, you found some excuses to deceive the higher-ups. You even used the power of a patriarch to suppress us. Do you really think this is your home? A country has its laws, and an army has its discipline. You have violated the rules. What is your punishment?" Luli used to be an emperor as well. He had led an empire and managed many people. What was more, he had killed many people. When he was angry, he would be very powerful and scary. Meng Li moved his lips. He wanted to refute, but he didn't know what to say. There were so many warriors here. He was late, and he didn't have a good reason. He had a distinguished status in the Hell Palace, but the Hell Palace was not his home. The Hell Palace had strict rules. Not even Su Yuqin dared to mess around, let alone Meng Li. Otherwise, she would be punished by the Hall of Penalty. Commander Chow was getting impatient. He said, "Commander, these are trivial matters. Just let it go. Don't delay the departure of the army." "Yes, yes." Another commander nodded and said, "Trivial matters. There's no need to get serious. Let's go, shall we?" "Were trivial matters. Were they?" Chapter 2206. Luli had always been an easygoing person. He would not pick on others for no reason, nor would he bully or humiliate others. If it were something trivial, he would just laugh it off. Today, he wouldn't let it go because Meng Li and Commander Chow wanted to kill him. Now that they were setting up a trap to kill him, why should he be polite? He was nominally the commander and Meng Li's superior. How could Meng Li fight him in front of so many warriors? Also, since Meng Li and Commander Chow wanted to kill him, then he would create some trouble on purpose so that everyone would know that he and Meng Li had a grudge against each other. By then, Meng Li would have scruples about killing him. At the very least, Meng Li wouldn't dare to do anything to him in public. He could only do it in secret. As long as they were playing dirty, then Lu Li was not afraid of anyone. It all depended on his own ability. If Meng Li could kill him, then he would have nothing to say. Meng Li looked gloomy. A warrior of the Second Tribulation, a so-called commander, dared to make things difficult for him? Did he really think that the great commander was something? If he wanted to, he could dismiss Lu Li at any time. However, the problem was that there were thousands of pairs of eyes staring at them, and countless soldiers watching the show from nearby. If he fought with Lu Li, he wouldn't gain anything. On the contrary, if the news got back to the Hell City, he would be punished. What was he doing here? He was here to kill Lu Li and to avenge Su Yueqin. But he could not go against the rules of the Hell City. Otherwise, how could the warriors be convinced? If the news got out, not even his great-grandpa could handle it. Not even his great-grandpa would help him. Commander Chow's eyes flickered. He said, "Young master, a little impatience will spoil the great plan. Many patriarchs must be secretly investigating, but they didn't come out. On the surface, Lu Si is in the right. We will be at a disadvantage if we go on. Anyway, we can kill him when we get to the Ghost Realm." Commander Chow's words calmed Meng Li down. A group of patriarchs must have sensed the situation here, but Patriarch Yang didn't come out. What did it mean? Several old patriarchs were waiting for him to make a fool of himself. "All right." Meng Li let out a long sigh, cupped his hands, and said, "As a man, I'm not afraid of losing face even if I did something wrong. Today's matter was indeed my fault. I've made my brothers wait for a long time." Meng Li apologizes to everyone here. After saying that, Meng Li bowed slightly and lowered his noble head. The warriors were in an uproar. This was a distinguished young master that even the 5 patriarchs went to greet. How could he bow to Lu Li? This was the biggest joke in the world. Not only the soldiers, but many commanders and elders were also slightly astonished. This young master Meng had always been arrogant and looked down on them. How could he be subdued so easily by Lu Li? Was he really a disciple of the Meng clan? But did he have other plans? "Depart." Lu Li waved his hand, and the army marched into the Drifting Souls universe. Lu Li and Meng Li followed the army into the depths of the valley and soon disappeared from everyone's sight. This Patriarch Yang walked out from the castle. His eyebrows were knitted together, and his face was gloomy. He looked to where Lu Li, Meng Li, and the others disappeared to. He thought about it and waved his hand and said, "Someone." Whoosh! A man in black clothes appeared. Patriarch Yang waved his hand and said, "You go in and keep an eye on them. Don't worry about the usual things. But if Meng Li's life is in danger, you must protect him. You don't have to come back if he dies." "Yes." The man in black clothes nodded and flew away in a blur. Even though he was at the peak of the Third Tribulation, he was proficient in assassination. Even average warriors of the Fourth Tribulation would lose their lives in a sneak attack from him. If he went with the army, not even Meng Li and Lu Li would be able to find him. It would be best if he could protect Meng Li in secret. Please don't let anything happen to him. Patriarch Yang sighed. Killing Lu Li was not a big deal. It could be covered up easily. But if something were to happen to Meng Li, then nobody could cover it up. The entire Hell Palace would be shocked, and Patriarch Yang's position as a patriarch would come to an end. Of course, Mengli was strong and had many treasures. Luli might have some strange skills, but he couldn't kill Mengli. Everything would be fine as long as they didn't run into the Phantom King. The Phantom King hadn't shown up for years. He wouldn't show up in the next 10 years, which put Patriarch Yang's mind at ease. Haha. In the other castle sat two white-haired old men. These two were very strong and were the two most powerful elders in the Ghost Valley. They didn't go out to greet Meng Li when he arrived. They didn't even show up later. At the moment, they were drinking tea together. One of the old men laughed and said, "The Meng family kid is good at enduring, but that Lu guy is not easy to deal with. I think something will go wrong in the ghost world. Either the Lu guy will be killed or Meng Li will be killed." Meng Li will be killed? The other skinny old man raised his eyebrows and said, "Patriarch Hua, are you kidding me? If Meng Li dies, Great Patriarch will fly into a rage. None of us will have a good time." The old man named Hua snorted and said, "Yun, we have been sent here to guard for 1,000 years. Do you think we will have a good time? What else can we do? Does he have the guts to kill us? His disciples are courting death. Who else can he blame?" Courting death? The skinny old man, Yin, was surprised and asked, "Patriarch Hua, are you so sure that Lu Gai can kill Meng Li? Does he have the guts to kill him?" "He can't get out of the Ghost Valley. He will die if he kills Meng Li. He is very bold," Lao He said with a smile. "I got some information. This kid didn't listen to the goddess's orders and fled. He even killed old demon Xia, who was about to die. This kind of person is unruly and could do anything if he is forced. Meng Li wants to kill him to please Su Yueqin. How can Lu Boy sit still and wait for death? As for his strength, I'm not sure, but since he can easily deal with the ghosts, he must have his own unique skills. Don't forget, although old demon Xia is seriously injured, he is still a fierce tiger. Do you want old Yang to send someone to protect Meng Li?" The skinny old man Yun said hesitantly, "We are guarding this place after all. If the Meng family kid dies here, we can't escape responsibility. At least it will be troublesome. Don't worry about it." Patriarch was said with a trace of mockery. "I still hope that something will happen. Otherwise, those old things in the Hell Palace will forget our existence." Back then, Meng Qishan also had a part in suppressing us. I really want to see his flustered and exasperated look. Haha. All right, Yin sighed helplessly. Since Patriarch Hua had decided, it was not good for him to act alone. Patriarch Hua was right. They were already like this now. How bad could they be? Could it be that the Hell Palace would expel them? Or kill them? I feel like a big show is about to begin. Chapter 2207. Boom, boom, boom. The war in the ghost world went on and on. The army was fighting against the human-faced scorpion beasts. The battle was fierce. The warriors on the periphery were fighting hard, but it was sunny inside. The two commanders, Lu Li and Meng Li, were standing there and watching leisurely. They had been here for half a day. This time they were not going to the Ghost Sea, but to the Ghost Mountain. It was a long journey. It would take them 3 days to get there and 1 more day to get to the Ghost Mountain. Last time they went to the Ghost Sea, many evil monsters were killed. This time, the monsters on the Ghost Mountain were not killed, so it was a bit troublesome to clear them up. No matter how troublesome it was, they had to go. After all, the casualties were mostly warriors. The commanders were powerful and could not die. They all had treasures to protect themselves. A small number of ghosts could not kill them. Even if they were to encounter a large number of ghosts, they could run away. These commanders naturally didn't bother to kill the average low-level monsters. Lu Li and Meng Li wouldn't do anything unless there were ghosts. Only then would the commanders and Lu Li take action. Everything was peaceful along the way. Lu Li and Meng Li were very restrained. There was no conflict. Meng Li even took the initiative to talk to Lu Li. She was very polite, as if nothing had happened. Since Meng Li didn't provoke him, Lu Li didn't bother to talk to him. He knew very well why Meng Li was doing this. This young master was very tolerant. He was doing this for the sake of all the warriors. In the future, when Lu Li died, nobody would suspect him. Of course, It didn't matter as long as it was not too obvious. Otherwise, it would ruin his reputation. Some things had to be done in a low-key manner. They could not be publicized in a high profile. Nothing could be accomplished without propriety. The Hell Palace was a big place. If everyone broke the rules, how could the Hell Palace operate? How could they win people's hearts? Luli wanted to kill, but he had to do it secretly and in a low-key manner. There was still a long way to go. There were plenty of chances. There was no hurry. Meng Li was a warrior of the Second Tribulation. Even though he had cultivated a supreme divine body and had some special skills, he was no different from an ant to Meng Li. Meng Li and Commander Chao could kill Luli easily if there was a chance when he was alone. Then the rest would be easy. They could disguise the scene and say that Luli was killed by a demon. Would Patriarch Yang and the others come to investigate seriously? The nearby areas were quickly cleaned up, and the army began to advance. Ho-Sen was injured. As the team leader, he had no choice but to fight on the front lines. His combat ability was not particularly strong. If he did not have a large team under him, he would have died a long time ago. Luli didn't want to help Ho-Sen, but he kept an eye on him. As long as Ho-Sen was still alive, he wouldn't do anything. If he really couldn't hold on any longer and was about to die, he could only save him. Ghosts! After advancing for a few more hours, the scout who was scouting ahead suddenly rushed over and exclaimed, "Specters! There are a lot of specters! They're coming over! A brother is dead!" Commander Chao and Commander Long's expressions changed. They turned to Luli. Commander Chao said, "Commander, please do something, or else we will be in big trouble." "Deputy Commander, you were born in a famous family, and you are very powerful. You have treasures all over your body." Luli looked at Meng Li indifferently and said, "How about you go and have some fun? If you can't, I will do something." Luli's provocative look infuriated Meng Li. Luli's implied meaning was clear. "Meng Li, aren't you from the Meng family? Aren't you full of treasures? Aren't you strong? Aren't you awesome? Go and fight the specters if you can." Meng Li was young and impetuous. He couldn't stand this provocation. He was confident in his abilities as well. He had the protection of the enchanted soul in his soul. He came here to tell his family, but the powerful warriors of his family didn't say anything, which meant that he could stand the specters. He smiled coldly and said, "Then, Great Commander, watch carefully. I'll go and test my strength first. I can't let Great Commander look down on me." Deputy Commander, Commander Chao, and Commander Long were worried. If something were to happen to Meng Li, they would all be doomed. Seeing Meng Li rushing over, they followed him. They couldn't let Meng Li take the risk alone. "Ha ha!" Luli smiled lightly, waved his hand, and said, "Move to the left and go around. Scout out the situation nearby." The army obeyed Luli's orders and felt at ease following him. It had been known that Luli could stand hundreds of specters by himself. As long as they could stand the specters, the ghost realm wouldn't be too dangerous. The army didn't want to stay here any longer. If a group of specters came, everyone would die in a mess. The army set off to the left at once while the scouts explored the way. While they were moving, Luli suddenly raised his eyebrows. He sensed the chi and energy moving toward Meng Li. That person was very good at hiding. Luli didn't sense anything before. Only now did he. Meng Li's secret guard? Luli thought about it, but didn't pay much attention. Of course, there wouldn't be any outsiders here. It was understandable that Meng Li was protected by a secret guard since she was of noble status. Luli put his guard up. He wanted to figure out a way to get to the bottom of this. If he was tricked by the secret guard, he would die without knowing why. The army marched on for thousands of miles when a scout suddenly came and shouted from the distance, "Commander, Deputy Commander, and the others can't stand it any longer. Commander Chao asks you to go and help." What? The army was in an uproar. That Meng Li seemed to be so powerful. How could she be so useless? Commander Long and Commander Chao couldn't even stand it with her. Back in the days, Luli had fought 400 or 500 specters by himself. Luli raised his eyebrows. He didn't hurry over. His first thought was whether this was a trap. Were Meng Li and the others trying to kill him? Meng Li and the other two plus a secret guard. If Luli fell into the trap, he would be killed in an instant. Go and tell them to evacuate this way. I will come to their aid. I can't be too far away from the army. If something goes wrong here, we will all be wiped out. Lu Li waved his hand and asked the scout to send a message. Meng Li and the others couldn't do anything when they were near the army. Unless they could wipe out the army of more than 2,000, they couldn't block the news. The scout went to send a message. Lu Li asked the army to stay where they were and sent out more scouts to check the surroundings. Hearing Lu Li's words, the warriors were moved to tears. The commander really loved them. Their commander didn't care about their lives and would send them to their deaths at the critical moment. After a while, Meng Li and the others came back. They were followed by more than 100 specters. Lu Li took action after he got the news. When he arrived at Meng Li's side, he waved his hand and said, "Retreat. I will kill them alone. You go back to the army and lead them to the Mount of Serenity. I will catch up with you later." "Commander, be careful." Commander Chow and Commander Long stepped back. Meng Li touched his nose embarrassedly. He controlled a flag to fly back. There was a trace of pity in his eyes. That was right. It wasn't that he couldn't handle the specters. He had some treasures with him. Even though it would take some time to kill so many specters, he could handle them. Actually, he wanted to trick Lu Li and then kill Lu Li with Commander Chow and Commander Long. He didn't expect Lu Li to be so vigilant and not give him chance. There were scouts around, and the army was not far away. If they made a move on Lu Li, they would be noticed by the army. If they couldn't kill Lu Li in one move, they would be in big trouble. "Let's go." He flew back and looked back. When he saw Lu Li flying away with a large group of specters, his eyes grew colder. Chapter 2208. It only took Lu Li an hour to kill more than 100 ghosts. Now that the Dragon Soul and the Phantom were working together, it was easier to kill ghosts, especially since the Phantom was getting stronger. The Phantom was not strong in the beginning. It could only affect the average warriors of the 3 trials. Now that it had devoured so many ghosts, how strong was it? Lu Li didn't know. Lu Li noticed one thing. The Phantom could only devour 3 or 4 ghosts at a time, and it would take some time. Now, it could devour 10 ghosts at one go, and it would take less time than before. After the last ghost was devoured, Lu Li let the Phantom into his soul. He circled around on the spot, but didn't go after the army. He flew in another direction. He didn't want to completely get rid of the army and fly alone. He just didn't want to meet up with the army so soon. According to his plan, he would meet up with the army after they reached the peak of the Ghost Mountain. He had a reason for doing this. Hadn't Meng Li been looking for a chance to kill him? Lu Li just wouldn't give him the chance. Meng Li must be upset and anxious during this time when he was missing. Once he was upset, he would make mistakes easily. Meng Li would set up a trap to kill him. If he was upset and anxious, there would be a loophole in his plan. Then he could seize this loophole and give Meng Li a fatal blow. Lu Li would have a higher chance of winning if he was prepared on one side and made a hasty move on the other. This battle was unavoidable. Even if he couldn't kill Lu Li this time, Meng Li would find a way to kill him when he got back to the Ghost Valley. Lu Li wanted to put an end to this matter with Meng Li this time, rather than being tricked without knowing why. That was not a problem. What worried him was how to deal with the aftermath after he captured or killed Meng Li. Lu Li wasn't sure about Meng Li's identity, but he must be the descendant of a big shot in the Hell Palace. Otherwise, Patriarch Yang and the others wouldn't have come out to greet him in person. Once Meng Li died, he must run away immediately. Otherwise, Patriarch Yang and the others would take him down before the Meng family came. If Meng Li died, he would be in big trouble. It would be better to capture Meng Li. If he could take Meng Li as a hostage, he might be able to leave the Hell Island easily. As for how to escape after leaving Hell Island, Lu Li had no idea. All in all, this would be a huge challenge for him. Neither taking him down nor killing him were very good options. The problem was that he only had these 2 options. Otherwise, he would just obediently wait for Meng Li to kill him. There were still a few days left, so Lu Li was not in a hurry. He planned to find more ghosts to devour. Also, he wanted to see if he could master the dragon wrestling skill. At the same time, he calmed down and thought about how to deal with Meng Li. He released his dragon wings and sprinted away, avoiding the human-faced scorpion beast and the ghost worm. He was only looking for the ghost monster. When his speed was at its peak, the human-faced scorpion beast and the ghost worm couldn't catch up to him. As he flew, he used the marks of the great Tao to sense that no one was following him. He then went to look for the ghosts. Why aren't they back yet? In the towering mountains and precipitous ridges, the army was opening up a path with difficulty. The army in front was fighting with the demons and monsters, while Meng Li, Commander Chow, and the others behind looked back from time to time. It had been 2 days, and Lu Li had not come back yet. Inevitably, they were getting impatient. Had Lu Li been killed by the ghosts? Or had he run away by himself? Or he didn't want to follow them and was waiting for them at the exit? It would be easier to kill Lu Li in the ghost universe. It would be more troublesome in the Valley of Ghosts. Meng Li had had enough of this damn place. He didn't want to waste his time here because of Lu Li. What if Sui Wuqin had been captured by someone else during his absence for several years? What was the point of doing more here? Well, Meng Li made up his mind after some thoughts. When Lu Li came back, he would find a chance to kill Lu Li with Commander Chow and Commander Long. It wouldn't matter even if the information was leaked. Lu Li was a nobody. Patriarch Yang would know what to do, and he would block the information from Meng Li. Besides, even if the information got out, the Hall of Punishments would pretend not to know for the sake of Meng Li's great-grandpa. Commander Chow, send someone to look for him. Meng Li ordered after some thoughts. Commander Chow understood and sent some scouts to look for Lu Li. Commander Chow frowned and sighed. I think the commander has sensed something. I don't think he will come back anytime soon. Or maybe he will come back after we return. By then, he will say that he is recovering and there is nothing we can do. Meng Li snorted and said, he thinks I won't kill him if he can stall me? I will kill him in front of the army. It will just be a little bit of trouble. Okay, don't worry about him. Let's go to the Ghost Mountain and finish the task as soon as possible. Is he going to stay in the ghost universe and not come back? I remember that if you stay here for a long time, the evil chi will affect your soul and eventually lead to chi deviation. Yes, Commander Chow said with certainty. Not even the patriarchs dare to stay here for long, let alone him. Anyone will go crazy if they stay here for a few years. That's good. Meng Li waved his hand and said, don't just stand here. Go ahead and help. Speed up. With the two commanders taking action, the speed of clearing up sped up. The warriors at the front were encouraged to fight bravely. Why isn't Boss here yet? In the army, a warrior with a pointy mouth and ape-like chin looked anxious. Hosen couldn't help but worry. If Lu Li didn't come back, or if Lu Li died, there would only be one ending for him: death. He was on tenterhooks all day, fearing that Meng Li would kill him to vent her anger when she had nowhere to vent her anger. Therefore, during this time, Ho-san had been keeping a low profile and fighting bravely. He was afraid that Commander Chow would find an excuse to kill him. Along the way, there were people dying. By the time they arrived at the Ghost Mountain in 3 days, more than 400 warriors of the army had passed away. Commander Chow and Commander Long were heartbroken. There was a towering mountain in front of them, shrouded in black mist. Looking from the distance, it looked like a huge beast was entrenched. Even Meng Li, who was experienced and knowledgeable, felt his heart palpitate. Commander Chow's expression became solemn. He took a deep breath and said, Young Master, the Ghost Mountain used to be the territory of a Phantom King, but that Phantom King was killed. But there are many evil beasts here. There is a special kind of beast that is many times stronger than the human-faced scorpion-bodied beast. This time, we must be very careful. Otherwise, we may all be wiped out. Okay, you will command when we get to the mountain. I will work with you. Meng Li was not an idiot. He knew that Commander Chow and Commander Long were much more experienced than he was in the ghost world. If he gave the wrong command, not to mention the two armies, even he himself would die here. It is a pity that fourth brother Lu is not back yet. Otherwise, things would be easier. Chapter 2209. Lu Li was already near the Ghost Mountain, but he didn't go back to the team yet. He found hundreds of ghosts for Spectre to devour. Spectre's strength had been further improved, but its momentum had slowed down. After reaching a certain level of strength, every step forward would be extremely difficult. Only by devouring more ghosts could Spectre truly transform. Of course, it was also possible that devouring ghosts could no longer make Spectre more powerful. Spectre needed to devour more powerful monsters. Luli had considered this. Luli didn't make any progress in his dragon wrestling skill. He had been to many places along the way, but it didn't bring him any inspiration. The bottleneck was still a bottleneck. He knew that the army had entered the Ghost Mountain. He didn't hurry to catch up. He was waiting for the army to enter the deepest part of the Ghost Mountain. By then, there must be powerful monsters, and he would have a chance. He had made it clear that he must capture Meng Li so that he could have a chance to escape from the Valley of Ghosts. He could not kill Meng Li. Once he did, he would be in trouble. There was a powerful barrier in the Valley of Ghosts and 10 patriarchs. He could not escape. He could capture Meng Li and put some worms of the void in his soul. In this way, he could kill Meng Li at any time. Patriarch Yang and the others would be cautious, and the Meng family wouldn't dare to do anything. Luli could kidnap Meng Li and leave the Hell Island. As long as they left Hell Island, they would be able to swim freely in the vast ocean and fly freely in the vast sky. The Hell Palace wouldn't send their most powerful warriors to hunt him down. Even if they did, he still had a chance of survival. He would die for sure if he stayed here. He was like a beast in a cage. The Hell Palace could kill him however they wanted. Now that he had made up his mind to capture Meng Li, he didn't have too many concerns. He couldn't care less about the lives of Commander Chow and the other warriors. Of course, he wouldn't kill those warriors on purpose. He just needed to find a chance. The only thing that bothered him was Ho-san. Since this little brother was following him, he couldn't just ignore him. However, he couldn't do anything now. He had to wait for the right chance to save Ho-san and take him away. Luli walked around the Ghost Mountain and found hundreds more ghosts. After Spectre devoured them, his chi and energy didn't improve much. A day had passed. Luli went up the mountain. He followed the route of the army up the mountain. It was safer and more concealed this way. He didn't want to alert the enemy. He just wanted to follow them secretly. He traversed through the forest like a ghost. Along the way, he found 2 scouts. Those scouts were top-notch scouts, but they couldn't find him. He possessed the Great Tao Mark, and his perception was heaven-defying. It was far too difficult for these scouts to discover him. Luli went around the scouts and moved on. After half a day, he found the main force easily. He sensed from afar and was glad that he had arrived just in time. There was a battle going on. Luli didn't even have to go over to check. He could sense that the battle must be fierce. On the other side, the sky was dark and gloomy, and the miserable cries of cultivators could be heard. One could also hear the angry roars of Commander Chow and the others. Without a doubt, the battle situation was not good. Luli sneaked over, and at the same time, he used the Great Tao Mark to check. 300 miles away from the army, Luli had a general sense of the situation there. The situation was not good. Of the 2,000 warriors, there were less than 1,500 left. The army was surrounded by beasts, including netherworms, human-faced scorpion beasts, phantoms, and something else that Luli had never seen before. The monster had 3 legs, and it stood upright. It could breathe fire from its mouth, and the temperature was very high. It was not big in size, but it was fast, even faster than the ghosts. This kind of monster was the most lethal, and many soldiers were burned. Of course, the reason why those warriors could survive until now was that there were not many ghosts, only dozens of them. Meng Li was fighting dozens of ghosts by herself. Otherwise, if the ghosts got into the army, they would have been wiped out. Meng Li had a black flag in her hand. Rays of black light came out from the black flag and danced in the air, which could inflict continuous damage to the ghosts. Luli also noticed that there were 3 lamps around Meng Li. The lamps were flying around him quickly. Many ghosts tried to attack him, but they all ran away in fear when they touched the lamps. Clearly, the lamps were horrifying. He is full of treasures, Luli exclaimed to himself. The saber in Meng Li's hand and the armor he was wearing were all treasures. There must be enchanted souls in his soul. This young master was armed to the teeth. Ho-san is still alive. Good. Luli noticed a familiar figure. He smiled. This Hosen was not good at fighting, but he was good at staying alive. But on second thought, the fact that he could survive the battle at the Palace of Demons at the Hell Island spoke volumes. Luli was not in a hurry to take action. He continued to lurk and look for a chance. He continued to sense through the great down mark, looking for the hidden secret guard. Found him. Soon, he sensed a weak chi and energy. It was near the battlefield, hiding deep. If it were not for the fact that Luli had the great down mark, he would not have been able to sense the chi and energy of life. Meng Li, Commander Chao, and Commander Long are not to be feared. But this secret guard is a bit troublesome. Luli frowned. Meng Li seemed to be full of treasures, and he was very powerful. But this kind of young master was the easiest to deal with. Since the secret guard was sent to protect Meng Li, he must be more powerful than Meng Li. Otherwise, why would he be sent here? I don't think he is at the fourth tribulation realm. Luli sensed for a while, and he had an idea. He had met some warriors at the fourth tribulation realm, and they could not hide their power. This person must be at the peak of the third tribulation realm, since he was hiding his chi and energy so well. Luli, who was at the peak of the third tribulation realm, was not so stressed. He stayed still and waited in comfort, like a wolf on the hunt. Aha! Luli could sense the secret guard, and the secret guard could sense Luli as well. His name was Feng Biao. He was the #1 killer under Patriarch Yang's command. He was very good at stealth and assassination. Feng Biao once offended a big family and was hunted down for 10 years. He ran away again and finally came to the Hell Palace. Relying on his powerful abilities, Feng Biao was soon put in an important position. Unfortunately, he was lustful and played with women he did not like. In the end, he was banished to the Valley of Ghosts and became a dog of Patriarch Yang. If Luli didn't sense him, maybe Feng Biao wouldn't know Luli was here. As soon as he sensed Li's whereabouts, Feng Biao was alerted. But he didn't do anything. He continued to hide in a tree and became one with the tree. Feng Biao's eyes flickered. Luli was here, but he didn't join the fight. Instead, he was hiding on the side. Then Li's intention was clear. He must be trying to kill Meng Li secretly. After some thoughts, Feng Biao moved his lips and locked onto Meng Li with psychic power. He said, "Young Master Meng Li, I am a secret guard sent by Patriarch Yang. My name is Feng Biao. I am here to protect you. You can ask Commander Chao to confirm my identity. I found the commander is here and he is hiding nearby. He may do you harm. You must be careful." Feng Biao reminded Meng Li. In this way, when Luli secretly made his move, Meng Li would be prepared. By then, Feng Biao would have an easier time. Meng Li's heart trembled, but he didn't show it on his face. He continued to fight with the ghosts while thinking. Soon he put on a smile. Chapter 22:10. Meng Li didn't notice the existence of this secret guard at all. He communicated with Commander Chao at once to confirm Feng Biao's identity and got Feng Biao's information. It's him. Meng Li was surprised when he got the information. He remembered a man who was once famous in the Hell City. He slept with the concubine of a collateral disciple of the Su family. If it weren't for the fact that this man had made great contributions, he would have been killed. That collateral disciple of the Su family died in battle. Otherwise, Feng Biao wouldn't have escaped death even if he was in the Ghost Valley. What a talent! Meng Li had heard of this man's abilities. It was said that his skills in assassination were top-notch. Few in the entire Hell Prefecture could compare with him in escaping. Meng Li didn't expect that Patriarch Yang would send him to protect him. No wonder he didn't notice that this man had been following him secretly. Okay, with such a powerful help, Meng Li was confident that he could kill Li. He thought about it. The situation looked dangerous, but it was not difficult to get out of this predicament. It was just that more people would die. Meng Li didn't care about the casualties of the sergeants. Instead, he thought they were burdens. Feng Biao, follow me from now on. He used psychic power and said to Feng Biao, "Don't stay in the Ghost Valley anymore. Go back to the Hell City with me. Don't you like women? There are plenty of women in the Hell City. Follow me and I will protect you." That collateral disciple of the Su family was dead. It had been 7 or 8 years. Nobody remembered him, or else Feng Biao would have been dead. How could Meng Li let go of such a talent? Feng Biao was surprised. He didn't expect that Meng Li would extend an olive branch to him. He wanted to take him out and protect him. He had been hiding in the Ghost Valley for several years. He was going crazy. There were some women here, but they couldn't compare with those outside. He was tempted. Patriarch Yang thought highly of him. But what could he do in the Ghost Valley? If he didn't encounter the Ghost King, he could deal with the average commanders and sergeants. But if he did, he would die all the same. He used to stay in the Hell City for a while, so he knew Meng Li's identity. If Meng Li could protect him, he could do whatever he wanted in the Hell City as long as he didn't offend those big shots. He only pondered for a moment before transmitting his voice. "Thank you for your kindness, young master. Feng Biao's 50 kilograms of meat will be sold to young master in the future. I'm willing to die for young master." All right. Meng Li was overjoyed. He didn't expect to have such an unexpected harvest this time. He had obtained such a capable general. When he returned, his father would definitely praise him, right? In the future, if he wanted to do some bad things in secret, he would have a capable subordinate. "Young master." Feng Biao transmitted his voice. "You want to eliminate the great commander? Do you want this subordinate to sneak over? This subordinate can easily kill him." "No need." Meng Li sneered and coldly transmitted his voice. "I want to crush him to death with my own hands. It's different for you to kill him. I still need to use the memory crystal to preserve the image. I have great use for it." Doing a good deed without leaving his name was not Meng Li's style. He wanted to kill Lu Li with his own hands and preserve the image with the memory crystal. Then, he would bring the memory crystal back and give it to Su Yuqin so that she would understand his good intentions. All right, since Meng Li wanted to do this, Feng Biao couldn't say anything more. He didn't care too much about Lu Li. He was just a second tribulation warrior. So what if he cultivated this supreme divine body and had some secret skills of the soul? Feng Biao's assassination skills were unparalleled in the world. Even a regular fourth tribulation warrior would die if he successfully launched a sneak attack. Meng Li continued to fight hard. Many ghosts had been killed by him. On the other side, Commander Chao and the others were fighting a bloody battle. The evil monsters were being eliminated bit by bit. Even though some more people had died, it was only a matter of time before the monsters were completely eliminated. Lu Li didn't move. He didn't find a suitable opportunity. The situation over there seemed to be tragic, but it didn't put too much pressure on Meng Li and the others. Meng Li and the others could leave at any time. Lu Li didn't have a chance. Meng Li and the others wouldn't care about the lives of the sergeants. Since there was no chance, Lu Li wouldn't act rashly. He waited for a moment. When the situation was almost stable, he flew away. If there was no chance, then he would find one. There were so many powerful evil beasts here, and he wanted to go and investigate if there was a suitable opportunity. If there was a suitable opportunity, he could use the power of the evil monsters to distract Commander Chao, Commander Long, and the Secret Guard. Then it would be easy for him to take down Meng Li. Feng Biao sensed Lu Li's departure at once. He sent a message to Meng Li at once. "Young master, the chief commander has left. He is going to the peak." "Oh." Meng Li was surprised. Then he said coldly, "Go and follow him. Leave marks along the way. We will catch up later and kill him directly." Meng Li didn't want to wait any longer. It was for the best that Lu Li was going to the depth of the mountain. When the situation here was stabilized, he would go after Lu Li with the two chiefs. Wouldn't it be easy to kill Lu Li together with Feng Biao? He couldn't do anything with the sergeants here. Wasn't Lu Li creating a chance for him by going to the depth of the mountain? But Feng Biao was hesitating. He said, "Young master, my mission is to protect you. I will leave now." Meng Li snorted and said discontentedly, "Feng Biao, you must follow me. You must carry out my orders without any hesitation. I have two chiefs here. Would it go wrong? Could it be that another Phantom King would appear? Even if one appeared, would you be able to protect me?" "Yes, young master, I know I am wrong." Feng Biao replied at once, "I will go now. I will leave a white mark along the way. Young master, pay attention." Meng Li nodded with satisfaction after Feng Biao left. He looked into the distance and put on a gentle smile. After Lu Li was killed, Meng Li didn't want to carry out any more tasks. He brought Feng Biao back to the Valley of Ghosts and teleported back to the City of Hell. Meng Li and Commander Chao exchanged a few words. They didn't have any objections. When all the evil beasts nearby were cleared out, the sergeants could stay here and reorganize. Nothing would go wrong in the short term. All the evil beasts nearby had been attracted here. It wouldn't be a problem for the sergeants to stay here. As far as Commander Chao could tell, it wouldn't take long to kill Lu Li, not to mention that Feng Biao would make a move. He was a ruthless man. Apart from the patriarchs, none of the chiefs were a match for him. Some of the patriarchs might even die from his sneak attacks. Another hour later, the last human-faced scorpion was killed. More than 100 sergeants were either dead or injured. Everyone sat down on the ground and rested in relief. There were dead bodies around, and many of them were injured. But those that survived were happy. Being alive was a victory. Everyone, stay here and reorganize. Commander Chao waved his hand and said, Captain Liu, you and stay on guard. Deputy Commander Long and I will go and have a look nearby. There's a group of phantoms nearby. We will lure them away. Remember, do not leave this place without my orders or unless you are attacked by powerful evil beasts. Chapter 22:11. Among the mountains and valleys, there was a sense of coldness and desolation everywhere. The spirit realm had a very uncomfortable aura to begin with, and traveling through barren mountains like this only made one's heart palpitate for some reason. In the mountains, a silhouette quickly floated over. He did not fly high in the sky, but instead flew close to the ground. The silhouette floated between the mountains, and his speed was too fast, like a ghost. Lu Li restrained his chi and energy. Even though there were ghost worms and human-faced scorpion beasts in the wild, by the time they sensed Lu Li's chi and energy, Lu Li would be far away. Those evil beasts could only roar and fly back in embarrassment. He had been flying in the mountains for almost an hour, but he hadn't found any powerful evil beasts, nor did he find too many evil beasts. There were only small groups of them. Maybe the battle was so fierce that most of the evil beasts were attracted there. There weren't many monsters in this area. Lu Li was a little anxious because he felt like there was a tail behind him. He couldn't see the secret guard, but he was sure that someone was following him. The secret guard was so good at hiding. Also, he was following him from afar. Lu Li couldn't sense his specific location. Lu Li had the trace of Tao, or else he wouldn't have been able to sense it. All he felt was that the space behind him was trembling and a faintly discernible chi and energy were locking onto him from time to time. Since the secret guard was following him, then Meng Li, Commander Chao, and the others must be behind him as well. Once they caught up with him, they would make a move. Lu Li must find a suitable battlefield as soon as possible. With his current abilities, he should be able to fight against warriors at the peak of the third tribulation. However, there were two exceptions. One was that Meng Li had many treasures, and the other was this secret guard. If it was someone like Commander Chao, Lu Li wouldn't be afraid, even if there were 10 of him. Lu Li must find a favorable terrain and a chaotic place so that he could fish in the fire and kill his enemies in the chaos. Lu Li made up his mind and flew toward the highest peak of the Ghost Mountain. The elixir he was going to collect must be there as well. There must be many powerful monsters there. Roar, roar. The closer he was to the highest peak, the more evil beasts and the fire-breathing ones appeared. Lu Li sped on, ignoring them. He used the trace of Tao to sense the powerful chi and energy in the mountains. Thousands of miles away from the mountain, Lu Li stopped. His eyes were wide open, filled with fear. At this moment, he sensed a fatal danger from the depths of his soul. There was a powerful existence on the highest peak. What should we do? Lu Li was a little hesitant. He just wanted to find a large group of monsters, not something that could instantly kill everyone. There must be an incomparably tyrannical existence at the highest peak. If he brought Meng Li and the others there, he might not be able to escape. He stopped, not daring to take the risk. Even though he was several thousand li away, he could still feel a fatal sense of danger. This was even sensed through the marks of the Grand Tao, so it meant that the existence within the peak had already exceeded his ability to deal with it. Let's take a look around here first. Luli thought about it for a moment and decided to walk around. If there were hundreds or thousands of monsters nearby, then he wouldn't have to take the risk. He took a detour and flew away. Feng Biao, who was hanging behind him, also took a detour. Feng Biao was scornful to see that Lu Li was afraid to go to the highest peak. Feng Biao was not in a hurry. He followed Lu Li leisurely, leaving behind hidden marks along the way. After circling around the peak, Lu Li's face was filled with disappointment. Although there were monsters nearby, there weren't many of them. Most importantly, there were almost no ghosts around. Those regular monsters could not cause too much trouble to Commander Chow and the others. It made no difference whether they were there or not. Should I ask Blood Fairy to build some dojos of runes nearby? Luli thought about it, but soon rejected the idea. Blood Fairy's dojos of runes might be able to cause some trouble to Commander Chow and Commander Long, but it would not be able to defeat them. It would be pointless. Meng Li, in particular, had so many treasures. Luli would not be affected at all. Whoosh! From a distance came 3 noises. Luli was taken aback. Meng Li and the others had caught up. That secret guard did not show up, but the 3 of them did not intend to hide their tracks. The 3 points were zooming in. Luli decided to throw caution to the wind. He did not leave. He stood on the peak of a small mountain and waited quietly. Whoosh! Soon, Meng Li and the others caught up. They stood in the air 30 miles in front of Luli. Meng Li stood there with a faint smile on his face. Commander Chow and Commander Long killed the monsters nearby. Luli said nothing. He stood there in silence. Some human-faced scorpion-like beasts dashed over. Luli took out the cauldron of 1,000 transformations and smashed at them. Those beasts were killed easily. My great commander, why didn't you return to your unit? Meng Li looked at Luli in a mocking manner. He had the pleasure of a cat catching a mouse. Meng Li had thought that Luli would not come to the Mountain of Ghosts and would wait at the exit to go out together. Meng Li was worried about how to kill Luli quietly in the Valley of Ghosts. But now, the trouble was gone. Luli did not want to waste time with him. He cut to the chase and asked, Meng Li, are you here to help Sui Waqin? How dare you? Meng Li pulled a long face and shouted, Goddess is not to be offended. How dare you call her by her name? Ha ha ha. Luli laughed. He was no longer gentle. Instead, he was aggressive and unruly. He laughed and said with ridicule, Not to be offended? Meng Li, I see you like Sui Waqin a lot. Have you ever held her hand? Let me tell you the truth. When Sui Waqin was being hunted by Xia Demon, she was already in a coma. I touched her, every part of her. It was a wonderful feeling. Courting death. Meng Li flew into a rage. His eyes turned blood red. He flew over, and a saber appeared in his hand. He charged at Lu Li without a care for anything else. Sui Waqin was his goddess. He had never held her hand. How could Lu Li say that he touched her all over? How could Meng Li not go crazy? Ha 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 ha. Lu Li stepped back while laughing. This was the effect he needed. He wanted to enrage Meng Li and make him lose his mind. Only in this way could he find a loophole and defeat Meng Li. Boom! Meng Li swung his black saber at Lu Li. A streak of light came out and cut at Lu Li. Lu Li had sensed it by activating the Mark of Tao. He used the footwork and turned around. He floated to the left. The streak of light landed on the mountain, leveling a forest and creating a huge ravine. The earth trembled. Beasts flew away in fear. Dust billowed, and the noise was earth-shattering. Meng Li was strong and had profound divine energy. That move must have been imbued with the destruction fundamental principle. If Lu Li was hit, he would be hurt even if he was not seriously injured. Whoosh! Commander Chow and Commander Long flew over and went after Lu Li from the left and right. That secret guard didn't move, but Lu Li could tell that he was lurking in the dark. If something went wrong, Lu Li would deal him a heavy blow and finish him in one move. Die, die, die. Chapter 22:12. Mengli was filled with anger. This was the angriest he had been in years. How could Lu Li desecrate his goddess, the woman he loved the most? What was more, it was true. Sui Yueqin was in a coma, and Lu Li protected her for a while. They were alone, and Sui Yueqin was in a coma. Lu Li thought it was possible for him to touch her, since she was so pretty. On the thought of this, Mengli felt as disgusted as if he had swallowed a fly. He wished he could cut Lu Li into pieces. The most precious thing in his heart was toyed with by a dirty man. Mengli was on the verge of a mental breakdown. Mengli, don't be so angry. While running away, Lu Li continued to tease. As a matter of fact, I didn't rape Sui Yueqin. I just touched her a bit and tore off most of her clothes. Before I could do anything else, the patriarchs of the Hell Palace came. I regret it now. If I were faster, the body of Stars and Luna would be mine. Mengli was losing his mind. Lu Li even tore off Sui Yueqin's clothes? Didn't that mean that he had seen everything? Not only that, but he must have touched all the places he could touch. At the thought of this, Mengli felt his blood rushing to his head. A flag and a lamp appeared in his hands, and he threw them at Lu Li with a whistling sound. Secret treasure. Lu Li used psychic power to check on the black flag. The flag was covered with dense divine patterns and carved with skulls. It was glowing in a black glare and was filled with killing intent. Clearly, it was a powerful treasure. The three lamps were horrifying as well. They moved silently, like ghostly lanterns. They were so fast that the candlelight flickered but did not go out. Needless to say, they were treasures. The lamps are more horrifying than the flags. Lu Li tried to sense it. Even though the flags seemed to be powerful, it shouldn't be so lethal. But the lamps could burn people to death. Once touched by the flickering flames, people would be burned to death. Hoi! Lu Li released Ghost King Cut with the saber transformed from the furnace of 1,000 transformations. His target was the three lamps. He didn't expect to knock them back, just to slow them down. Swish! The flag flew over. Lu Li put away his saber and punched with his fists. His hands glowed in golden light. Surges of horrifying strength spread out and collided with the killing intent from the flag. Boom, boom, boom. Space trembled. Lu Li was smashed away, and so was the flag. He ignored the flag and looked at the three lamps. He was relieved to find that they were slowed down by the Slayer's ghost chop. Xiao! On his left and right, Commander Chao and Commander Long flew over. They took out their weapons and attacked Lu Li from both sides. Both of them had received Meng Li's promise to bring them out of Ghost Valley, so they were naturally willing to help. Commanders, aren't you afraid that the Underworld Palace's Punishment Hall's dog guillotine will chop your heads off? Lu Li shouted in a thunderous voice. The two commanders sneered. Commander Chao sneered and said, Insubordination? Do you really think you're the great commander? Are you worthy? You are just a second Tribulation Realm warrior. You don't even deserve to carry our shoes. At first, Commander Chao was afraid because he didn't know Lu Li's background. Later on, he was no longer afraid. He even looked down on Lu Li. Lu Li had just joined the Underworld Palace not long ago. When he first joined, he was just a lowly warrior in a prisoner camp. He could become the great commander of the Valley of Ghosts because Sui Yueqin wanted to kill him, but she couldn't. She had to borrow his hand. If so, what else did Commander Chao have to worry about? His ancestor once followed Great Patriarch. As far as Commander Chao could tell, Great Patriarch Chao was born in a prestigious family. Someone like Lu Li didn't even deserve to carry his shoes. Lu Li laughed. He looked at Commander Chao provocatively and said, Commander Chao, you are so good. Do you have the guts to fight me alone? Believe it or not, I can kill you with one hand. Lu Li's arrogance enraged Commander Chao. He had always thought that Lu Li was only good in soul and speed, but not in combat. Otherwise, why didn't he try to reach the third Tribulation Realm? Just as Commander Chao was about to say yes, a cold voice came through. Commander Chao, you'd better not fight him alone, or you will die a miserable death. This man is strange. It was Feng Biao. Feng Biao was recognized as the most powerful warrior below the patriarchs in the Valley of Ghosts. Commander Chao felt creeped out when he heard Feng Biao's words. Commander Chao had an idea and said, "Fourth brother Lu, you are so good. Why are you running? Stop and fight with us. I have seen shameless people, but this is the first time I have seen someone like you." Lu Li dashed around, dodging the three's attacks. He was as fast as a fourth tribulation warrior. With a trace of Dao, he could sense their attacks in advance. He could dodge Meng Li and the other two's attacks easily. He didn't make any moves. He just released the Slayer's Ghost Slash to stop the three lamps from getting closer. He used psychic power to check for a chance. It was not difficult for him to kill Commander Chao and Commander Long. That being said, once he stopped, the other two would be able to hit him. What was more, Feng Biao was nearby, eyeing him with hostility. He could launch a fatal strike at any time. Therefore, Lu Li could not afford to be careless. His body was strong, but not indestructible. He had the mystical steel, but that did not mean he could kill four at once. The mystical steel could only be released once. He would have divine energy to protect himself after that. That being said, the mystical steel must be used at the most critical moment. Therefore, he was not in a hurry. After all, Meng Li was on the verge of losing his temper. He must have used everything he could. Lu Li was safe for now. He could take his time to find a chance. He was overthinking. Meng Li chased after Lu Li for a while longer, but could not hit him. He was getting angrier. His interspatial ring glowed as a turquoise sword appeared in his hand. He controlled the sword, and it dashed away at a speed faster than Lu Li. Flying sword? Lu Li turned around in midair. The turquoise sword turned around and followed him. Lu Li pulled a long face. The flying sword glowed coldly and was covered with divine patterns. Needless to say, it was a piece of treasure. The might of the sword was so strong that Lu Li felt it was an incomplete sovereign weapon. He was right. This was indeed an incomplete sovereign weapon, but it had been reforged by the great patriarch of the Hell Palace. This weapon was powerful, as Lu Li could tell from the mighty might. Boom! Lu Li's fist glowed in golden light as he punched at the green sword. The sword was knocked away easily, but Lu Li's fist was bleeding. He was scratched, and there were even some cracks on his bones. Whoosh! The small sword came back at the same speed. Lu Li was even more frustrated. With just the small sword, he could probably slice off his flesh bit by bit, right? Yeah. Meng Li was surprised as well. The small sword was his most powerful weapon of protection. If he were to use it to attack Commander Chao and the others, he could pierce through their heads in one move. Lu Li's arm was only scratched. How strong was his defense? Let's go. Lu Li's eyes flickered. Without any hesitation, he dashed toward the peak of the stealthy mountain. There was a horrifying being there. Lu Li didn't know if he would die if he went. But if he didn't, he might be stabbed to death by the green sword. Chapter 22:13. Among the towering mountains and precipitous ridges, a huge mountain rose up into the sky. The mountain was surrounded by dark fog, giving it a spooky look. If the entire ghost mountain was a beast, then this mountain was the horn on the head of the beast. Lu Li didn't want to take the risk before, but after Meng Li used the green sword, Lu Li had no other choice. The green sword might not be able to stab him to death, but it would circle around him like a fly, buzzing in his ears. He could not get rid of it. What he was worried about the most was the secret guard. That person was like a poisonous snake, lurking in the shadows. Lu Li could sense the existence of the secret guard, but he didn't know where he was. Therefore, if the green sword kept attacking him, Lu Li would be exhausted and the secret guard would have a chance. Once Lu Li showed an opening, the secret guard could stab him to death. Lu Li rushed towards the mountain. He didn't go in a straight line. Instead, he took a detour around the mountain and approached it bit by bit. They were not far away from the mountain. If he flew there directly, he could reach it in the time of 1 or 2 blinks. But it would not end well for him. He would be the first one to go, and he would be targeted by the powerful monster inside. He would die in an instant under the pincer attack. He flew around the mountain and approached it bit by bit. In this way, the monster wouldn't be able to lock onto him. Meng Li and the others were full of vigor. They kept attacking. Maybe the powerful being would lock onto them. Mengli, your green sword is nice, but it is not as good as Su Yueqin's heaven sword. While running, Luli shouted, that heaven sword is very powerful. I play with it myself. Well, maybe you don't know this, but Su Yueqin's skin is very good. It is as smooth as jade. Luli's words drove Mengli crazy again. He had been in love with Su Yueqin for many years. They were childhood sweethearts, and he had been in love with her since they were little. For so many years, Su Yueqin was sometimes far away from him and sometimes close to him, which made him miserable. Now Luli had profaned his goddess again and again. How could Mengli not be angry? Commander Chao and Commander Long were enraged as well. They had been attacking Luli for a long time. Even though they had hit him several times, Luli was not seriously injured. The two of them boasted that their battle prowess was not bad, but now they couldn't even kill a second tribulation martial artist. This made them feel very embarrassed. They were furious, but they didn't care that Luli was leading them in circles. They couldn't feel it, but Feng Biao, who was lurking nearby, felt that something was wrong. He was a top-notch assassin and had an innate intuition for danger. He could sense that there was some danger at the highest peak, but because it was too far away, he couldn't sense it very clearly. Young master, he thought for a moment and transmitted his voice to Mengli. Do you need my help? I'm confident that I can stab him to death with one strike. No need. Mengli was furious at the moment. So how could she let Feng Biao interfere? What was more, his flying sword had left wounds on Luli over and over again. He was confident that he could cut Luli into pieces with his own hands. He needed to kill Luli with his own hands to show his sincerity. If he let Feng Biao do it, how would his memory crystal record the scene? If he sent the scene of Feng Biao stabbing Luli to death to Su Yueqin, she might not appreciate it. This should be enough. Luli realized that he was only 2,000 miles away from the peak. He had already sensed danger up ahead. He turned around and flew up. Mengli and the others flew up as well. Suddenly, Luli stopped. He took out his saber and made a Ghost Slayer move. At the same time, he used Dragon Roar to shout, Mengli, don't push me too far. Otherwise, if you get out of here, I will tell the entire island of hell about Su Yueqin. You still want to go out? Mengli bellowed. Seeing that Luli had stopped, Mengli swung his saber at Luli. At the same time, Commander Chao and Commander Long launched their own attacks. Boom! This time, Luli didn't dodge. He was cut down by the ray of sword light. Commander Chao and Commander Long's attacks landed on Luli as well. He was smashed into the ground. Boom, boom, boom. The ray of sword light was so powerful that it didn't slow down after Luli was smashed down. The sword light landed on the mountain. The entire mountain trembled. Mud and stones were splashed around. Dust billowed, and the noise was earth-shattering. Roar! Right at that moment, from the top of the mountain came a roar. Following that, a surge of horrifying chi and energy spread down and enveloped Mengli and the others. Oh no! Feng Biao was taken aback. The beast was so ferocious that he felt suffocated. He used psychic power to check. He trembled and shouted, Phantom King! Phantom King? Commander Chao and Commander Long's bodies trembled violently. They saw a giant beast soar into the sky from mountain. The giant beast was light blue in color and had a pair of wings on its back. Its head was like a wolf's, but it had horns. Its body was upright, and it had sharp claws and a long tail. Its pair of blood-red eyes caused Commander Chao and Commander Lu's hearts to turn cold. They would never forget the appearance of this monster for the rest of their lives. The two of them remembered it very clearly. It was the scene where they had followed the powerhouses of the Underworld Palace to exterminate the Phantom King. The monster in front of them was the Phantom King. The Phantom King was the most powerful being in the Ghost Realm. Once they encountered the Phantom King, even average patriarchs would die, not to mention powerful leaders like them. Only 2 of the 10 patriarchs could stand against the Phantom King. The other patriarchs would lose their lives if they fought the Phantom King alone. There were less than 10 Phantom Kings left, weren't there? Weren't they driven into the deep sea and afraid to come out? Why would there be a Phantom King at the Ghost Mountain? We are doomed. That was the first thought that came to Commander Chow and Commander Long's mind. They even gave up on fighting back and running away. Facing the Phantom King, they felt like they were children facing a tiger. They could not escape death. Meng Li had never seen the Phantom King before, but he felt cold all over as well. It was a terrible feeling, as if he could not control his own fate. He had all kinds of treasures, but he might not be able to stop this monster. He had some understanding of the ghost realm. The only thing that could threaten his life was the Phantom King. He didn't expect that he would be so unlucky. Powerful. This is the Phantom King? Lu Li was smashed into the mountain, but he was not seriously injured. However, he forgot about his injuries at the moment. All he felt was coldness. He knew there was a powerful being in the mountain, but he didn't expect it to be the Phantom King. Wait, Commander Chow suddenly realized something. He shouted, "This is not an adult Phantom King. This one is much smaller. I think it is still underage. Young Master, run. We will cover you." Whoosh! Before Commander Chow could do anything, Feng Biao had already dashed out toward the Phantom King. He shouted, "You two, protect young master and leave this place. I will handle this." Feng Biao had to come out because the Phantom King was staring at Meng Li. Meng Li's attack was too powerful, and she was the strongest here. Even though Lu Li was at the forefront, he should be the first to be sensed by the Phantom King. But Lu Li was smart. He was smashed down, and his chi and energy were weakened. It seemed that he was badly injured. The Phantom King's spiritual intelligence was very high. Even though this Phantom King had not matured, it was still very high. A group of humans was attacking its lair. Naturally, the Phantom King would kill the most powerful one first. To the Phantom King, Lu Li was a puny creature that it looked down on. Roar! Chapter 22:14. The Phantom King and the Phantom Worm both had the word phantom in their names, but their meanings were completely different. The Phantom Worm was named Phantom Worm because it could hide and lurk in the Void Worm. The Phantom King was different. It was named Phantom Worm because it had an abnormally terrifying speed and was as fast as a phantom. Also, it was too powerful. It was like the king of beasts from the ancient times. At this moment, the Phantom King's speed allowed Feng Biao, Meng Li, and the rest to witness the terror of this strange beast king. Before Commander Chow and Commander Long could even react, the Phantom King's sharp claws had already grabbed onto Meng Li. Buzz! The armor on Meng Li's body emitted a bright white light. Powerful aura came from the armor as it blocked the claws of death with difficulty. Young Master! Feng Biao was very anxious. He had just joined Meng Li. If this new master died so easily, it would be for nothing. Besides, Elder Yang had asked him to protect Meng Li. If Meng Li died, he wouldn't be able to live. A broken sword appeared in his hand. His whole body was ignited with black flames. He spun in the air and turned into a black whirlwind, stabbing toward the back of the Phantom King. Boom! A dull sound was heard. The armor on Meng Li's chest couldn't withstand it in the end. It exploded layer by layer. The Phantom King's claws grabbed Meng Li's shoulder. Meng Li's body wasn't strong and was easily crushed. Meng Li wasn't a good-for-nothing playboy. In the face of death, he finally reacted. He controlled the flying sword to fly over like an aurora. At the same time, the three lamps nearby rushed toward the Phantom King like moths. Bang! Feng Biao's attack arrived. The green flying sword stabbed with terrifying power. The flames in the three lamps also had a very powerful aura. The Phantom King had the chance to kill Meng Li directly. However, it was very intelligent. It knew that if it killed Meng Li, it would die too. Therefore, it could only turn into a shadow and move to the side. Rip! The Phantom King reacted quickly, but was still cut by Feng Biao's sword. A small piece of its wing was cut off, and its leg was also cut by the green flying sword, leaving a deep wound. Roar! Roar! The Phantom King was enraged, and he let out a loud roar that shook heaven and earth. A ferocious aura spread out in all directions, startling Commander Chow and Commander Long, who were still in a state of shock. The two of them looked at each other, and without any hesitation, they simultaneously released an attack in the direction of the Phantom King. Then, They rushed to Meng Li's side and dragged him away. The armor on Meng Li's body was very powerful. Even an ordinary fourth tribulation martial artist would find it difficult to break it, but in front of the Ghost King, it was like a piece of paper. Meng Li's realm was very high and his body was full of treasures, but his actual combat ability was too weak. There was no need to even mention the two of them. If the Phantom King were to attack them, they would be instantly killed. Therefore, without any hesitation, after they came to their senses, they immediately took Meng Li and fled. If Meng Li died, they would all die, and their families would suffer. Even if they die, they must protect Meng Li. Hiss, hiss. Meng Li sucked in a few breaths of cold air. His face was filled with pain, but he did not dare to make a sound. He turned his head with difficulty and looked around. When he saw the Phantom King rushing toward Feng Biao, he heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. Feng Biao's battle prowess was stronger than any of them. Even if he was not a match for the Phantom King, he could at least hold on for a while, giving them a chance to escape. Feng Biao lived well. He let out a long roar, and his speed reached the extreme as he flew into the distance. If Feng Biao could survive, he would definitely give him a lifetime of glory and wealth. Fortunately, it's not an adult Phantom King. He sighed in his heart. This Phantom King was obviously too different in size from the legendary Phantom King. If it was an adult Phantom King, he would have been smashed into pieces by that strike just now. My flying dragon sword. After flying for thousands of miles, Meng Li suddenly remembered something. He had controlled that flying sword to chase after the Phantom King, and he had forgotten to take it back. That sword was an incomplete sovereign weapon. It had been refined by his great-grandfather for many years, and it was very spiritual. If he didn't take it back, the Phantom King would continue to chase after him. Now that they were so far away, he could no longer control the flying sword to fly back. Unless he returned to the battlefield, he could control the flying sword and take it back. Forget it. He thought about it, and finally gave up on this idea. He didn't want to face the Phantom King again. The feeling of walking on the edge of death just now was too terrifying. Most importantly, this was the ghost world, a sealed world. People from the outside world couldn't enter, and the people here could only go to the Ghost Valley if they wanted to go out. Therefore, this flying sword was safe here. He could ask his great-grandfather or the experts of Hell Island to come and take it back at any time. An incomplete sovereign weapon was very precious, but life was even more precious. The wealthier a person was, the more they were afraid of death. They didn't live barefooted. They had too many things that they didn't want to lose, and they were afraid of losing. All right, after flying for thousands of miles again, they were about to leave the Ghost Mountain. Meng Li completely relaxed this time. This Phantom King was not an adult yet, so it shouldn't leave the Ghost Mountain, right? I wonder if Feng Biao can survive. Finally out of the Ghost Mountain, Meng Li finally had time to take out recuperation medicine and swallow it. He was seriously injured. Not only was his shoulder scratched, but his internal organs were also injured. Most importantly, there was a strange energy that invaded his body and was corroding the divine power in his body. What kind of energy is this? He was a little panicked. He didn't care about the corrosive divine power, but if it corroded his physical body and soul, he would probably die before he could return to the Ghost Valley. Don't panic, young master. Commander Chao looked in the direction of the Ghost Mountain with lingering fear and said, "Young master, let's continue flying. It's not safe here. Don't worry about the ghost power in your body. At most, it will corrode your divine power. When we return to the Ghost Valley, find Elder Hua, and he can easily help you solve it." That's good, that's good. Meng Li nodded. Even if his divine power was gone, he could still cultivate. As long as his body didn't have any problems, it would be fine. He looked in the direction of the Ghost Mountain with hatred. As he flew, he murmured, "I wonder if that brat Lu Si is still alive? I'm so unlucky this time to encounter a Phantom King." "He can't live," Commander Chao said with certainty. "He took the combined attack of the three of us and is already seriously injured. What's more, he is in the middle of the battlefield. Feng Biao will not help him cover his retreat. He will definitely be torn apart by the Phantom King." "What a pity," Meng Li looked regretful. The biggest mission this time was to kill Lu Li with his own hands, record it with a memory crystal, and give it to Su Yueqin. Even if Lu Li died now, it wouldn't be his credit. This trip was a waste, and he was injured for nothing. He even lost his flying sword. It was a big loss. All right. Commander Chow suddenly remembered something. Their army seemed to still be in the mountain. Just now, they were in a hurry and didn't pass by the army. Therefore, they didn't have time to inform them. Now that they were almost out of danger, they couldn't just abandon the army. Those were their base. Commander Chow thought about it and said to Commander Long, "Old Long, why don't you make a trip? You don't have to go up the mountain. We have people at the foot of the mountain. Ask the scouts to send a message and let the army retreat." Chapter 22:15. Commander Long was a bit hesitant, but he didn't think about it for long. Commander Chow was right. They had scouts at the foot of the mountain. They could send the scouts up to inform Meng Li. They should be safe at the foot of the mountain. Commander Chow had already said so. Was he too afraid to do it in front of Meng Li? He would be looked down upon by Meng Li. He cupped his fists and said, "Commander Chow, I will leave young Master Meng's safety to you. Do not let anything happen to him." Commander Long's beautiful words satisfied Meng Li. He nodded and said, "Thank you for your hard work. Be careful. We will walk for half a day and wait for you. We will leave marks on the way." Okay. Commander Long cupped his fists and flew toward the Mount of Serenity. He was praying that he wouldn't run into the Phantom King, or he would die. Commander Chow looked at Meng Li's injuries and said, "Young master, how about you rest in my interspatial artifact? If anything happens, I will inform you immediately. You should suppress the ghost energy in your body. Otherwise, it will harm your body." Okay. Meng Li nodded. He didn't want to fly with injuries. They were so far away from the Mount of Serenity. Since the Phantom King hadn't caught up with them, they should be safe. What was more, he had the phantom energy in him, and he had lost his flying sword. His abilities were greatly reduced. Even if he was in danger, he wouldn't be able to use much of his abilities. He might as well rest and heal in peace. Chow Tong took out a pagoda and put Meng Li in it. Then he flew toward the exit. He left some marks along the way. Commander Long would be able to find them and catch up with the army. He flew forward and didn't get entangled with any evil beasts. He tried to be as careful as possible. Once he sensed a large group of evil beasts ahead, he would avoid them. After flying safely for half a day, he arrived at a mountain. It was a famous mountain called the Bald Head Mountain. On their way here, they had fought and killed many evil beasts. There shouldn't be any evil beasts coming here for a while. He circled around and made sure it was safe. Then he dug a cave and waited in there. He was waiting for the army to come back and for Feng Biao to come back. As for Lu Li, he had forgotten about him. He believed that Lu Li, who was so badly injured, could not have survived. After all, they were able to escape because Feng Biao was covering their retreat. Feng Biao would not cover Lu Li's retreat. He might even lure the Phantom King to attack Lu Li. Time passed bit by bit, and soon half a day had passed. The army had yet to arrive, and this made Commander Chow a little worried. However, when he thought about how the army was on the mountain and how many people there were, it was impossible for the journey to be peaceful. Perhaps in another half a day, the army would arrive. More than 2 hours later, Commander Chow's eyes suddenly opened. He discovered the sound of light footsteps. Someone was approaching. His divine sense immediately surged forward like a tide, but his body quickly bounced back, his face full of shock. Commander Long, the army, and Feng Biao didn't come for him. The person he had been waiting for was someone he could never have imagined, Lu Li. From a distance came a man like a ghost. He was wearing a cyan robe that was ragged. There were many bloodstains on him, and his hair was unkempt. He cut a sorry figure. That being said, his eyes were sharp, and there was a gentle smile on his face. He looked like a hunter who had spotted his prey. He made it back, and he caught up with us so quickly. Commander Chow looked awful. Meng Li was injured, Commander Long was not here, and Feng Biao's status was unknown. It would be difficult for him to stop Lu Li on his own. Although Lu Li seemed to be injured, This person was very strange. How could he not be strange if he could escape from the Phantom King? Uh-huh. Luli laughed when he saw Commander Chow. Meng Li was injured, and she could not be on her own. Commander Chow had a small pagoda in his hand. Needless to say, Meng Li must be in there. One could wear out iron shoes in fruitless searching, only to find it by chance. A good-for-nothing Commander Chow and an injured Meng Li were nothing for Luli. He had thought that Commander Long would come with them, but it was just Commander Chow. As for how Luli escaped, it was simple. More importantly, he was a second tribulation heaven god. He appeared to be weak, so weak that the Phantom King didn't even care about him. It was like a powerful human being was attacked by a group of warriors. In a fit of rage, he came out to kill. He must be looking for the most powerful warrior to hunt him down. What was more, Feng Biao was strong. He had been hunted by a force for a long time, but he was still alive. From this, one could tell that something was wrong. After Meng Li and the others ran away, Feng Biao didn't run away at once. Instead, he fought with the Phantom King for a while. During this time, Luli didn't move. He pretended to be weak and seriously injured. This successfully paralyzed both the Phantom King and Feng Biao. Of course, with the Phantom King chasing after him, Feng Biao did not have the chance to attack Luli. When Meng Li and the others were far away, Feng Biao ran to another side at once. With the Phantom King chasing after him, Luli could run away easily. On the surface, Luli seemed to be seriously injured after being attacked by 3 people. But in fact, his bones were not broken. He went down the mountain with ease and began to chase after Meng Li. Meng Li must have run to the exit since she was badly injured. Luli followed this route. Along the way, he sensed the mark left by Commander Chow through the trace of Dao. It was easy for him to find this place. Bang! The mountain exploded. Commander Chow flew up. Glaring at Luli, he said, "Fourth brother of Lu, don't do anything rash. Young Master Ming's great-grandpa is the great patriarch of the Palace of Hell. If you do something rash, nobody in the world can save you. You can't even get out of the Ghost Valley. Even if you can, there are 10 patriarchs out there. Do you think you can get out of the valley? At the very least, once you are out of the Ghost Valley, Great Patriarch will take action. He is a warrior at the peak of the 4th tribulation. Where can you run to?" This time, Commander Chow was not arrogant. He knew that he might not be able to fend off Lu Li on his own. Meng Li might not be reliable either. Now, he could only rely on the name of Great Patriarch to scare Lu Li. Was Lu Li a pushover? Lu Li smiled gently. He didn't waste any more words. He dashed forward like a mad dragon. The cauldron of 1,000 transformations transformed into a saber, and he hacked at Commander Chow. A ray of sword light appeared. The saber made several turns in the air, and the pressure from heaven and earth pressed down on Commander Chow. Buzzing at the same time, many worms of the void came out from the wicked bead in Lu Li's hand. They swarmed toward Commander Chow. This was the first time that Lu Li released worms of the void. At first, Commander Chow thought they were phantom worms buzzing. Chapter 22:16. When Meng Li was still in the tower, he received Commander Chow's message. As soon as he came out, he used psychic power to check on Lu Li. He was ashamed and angry. When a tiger fell from grace, he would be bullied by a dog. At first, Meng Li felt it was a pity that he could not kill Lu Li. Now, Lu Li had come to him with a clear purpose. Was Meng Li going to kill Meng Li? If Meng Li were in his prime, he would be happy when Lu Li came to him. But now, Meng Li was upset. Meng Li's injuries were neither serious nor light. Over half of his divine energy was corroded, and that flying sword was lost. Therefore, Meng Li was not confident that he could kill Lu Li at this moment. The fact that Lu Li could escape from the Phantom Master made Meng Li afraid. A wise man would not jump into a dangerous situation. Naturally, Meng Li did not want to take the risk. Therefore, when he came out, he just threw Lu Li a hateful glare and then flew away. Commander Chow charged toward Lu Li, bellowing. Buzzing, the void worms that filled the sky flew over. A bead appeared in Commander Chow's hand. The bead emitted a cold aura that enveloped the space around him for dozens of feet. In the cold air, the worms of the void slowed down. Previously, they were as fast as lightning, but now they were running like sheep. As soon as the worms of the void slowed down, they posed no threat to Commander Chow. Commander Chow dashed across the sky and passed by the worms of the void. Around him, divine talismans danced around. Those divine talismans could not only deal with specters, but also physical attacks. It was intimidating. Swish, the ghost of the Slayer came, but was stopped by several divine talismans. The Slayer's ghost of the Slayer seemed to be intimidating, but it was not as powerful. It would be difficult for him to kill a warrior at the peak of the third tribulation. Blood Fairy, order Phantom to attack the one in front of us. It was not difficult for Lu Li to kill Commander Chow. Lu Li could crush Commander Chow with physical strength alone. That being said, Lu Li wanted to test Phantom's ability. Phantom's abilities have been enhanced after eating so many specters. This man would be a perfect test subject. Buzzing, the ghost pearl shone brightly, and a black shadow soared into the sky, covering half the sky. A sinister aura permeated the surroundings, causing Commander Chow, who was rushing over, to shiver. He widened his eyes and looked over. He saw a huge, ghostly figure standing proudly in midair like a giant demon. That hideous and terrifying appearance was enough to make one's heart tremble. Hoo-hoo! A cold wind blew, and the ghostly figure danced in the air. Like a gust of cold wind, it instantly arrived beside Commander Chow. Commander Chow was shocked. He immediately controlled the divine talisman to fly and spin around him. Gui-ing was also a spirit body, similar to a ghost. These divine runes should be able to cause great harm to him, right? He was wrong. Ghostly shadows were indeed similar to specters. They were both soul bodies. However, specter shadows were much stronger than specters. Divine talismans could indeed hurt souls, but a small fireball could hurt a bird. Could it hurt a golden-winged rock? After passing through the divine runes, the ghostly shadow paused for a moment. Then, it transformed into a gust of wind and rushed into Commander Chow's body. He felt a powerful, evil energy enter his body and rush toward his soul. Commander Chow's entire body began to tremble. He had a defensive treasure in his soul, but he didn't have a powerful, demonic soul. Not to mention this ghostly shadow. Even if a specter entered his soul, he wouldn't have the confidence to block it. Soon, he cried out miserably and rolled around in midair. Lu Li used psychic power to check and nodded. The ghostly shadow was strong indeed. It was attacking Commander Chow's soul directly. At the moment, Commander Chow's soul was about to be destroyed. Boom! In the time for merely 5 breaths, Commander Chow fell down. His eyes were still filled with terror. His armor, interspatial ring, and the divine runes floated in midair and fell off automatically. Whoosh! Lu Li rushed over and put away Commander Chow's interspatial ring and the ghostly shadow. Lu Li grinned and went after Meng Li. He was as fast as an initial stage of the fourth tribulation after releasing his dragon wings. Meng Li was slower than him, and he was injured. Lu Li believed that he could catch up with him soon. As he had expected, in the time for 2 incense sticks to burn, Lu Li saw a man in front of him. Meng Li noticed Lu Li as well. Meng Li was taken aback. He had thought that Commander Chow could survive for an hour. He didn't expect that Lu Li would catch up so soon. It didn't take Lu Li long to kill Commander Chow. Commander Chow was not injured at all. A warrior at the peak of the third tribulation in his prime could not stand Lu Li for an instant. Lu Li was more powerful than Meng Li had imagined. Fight? Meng Li was not sure. If he had the flying sword, he might have a chance. But without it, what could he rely on to fight? He could not run away. Lu Li was faster than him. He could neither fight nor run, so he had to talk. Meng Li calmed himself down and suppressed his anger. He took a few deep breaths, stood in midair, and said, "Fourth brother of Lu, can we talk?" Lu Li stood 30 miles in front of Meng Li. He smiled and said, "Talk? How do you want to talk?" Meng Li thought about it and said, "Let's forget about the past. When I go back, I will find a way to transfer you away from the Valley of Ghosts. I will let you go to a better position and enjoy better treatment." Ha ha! Lu Li sneered. Meng Li did not paint a pretty picture. Since he was unpaint a picture, why not make it better? Lu Li shook his head and said, "If that is all, young Master Meng, you don't have to go on. Don't try to stall for time. Your secret escorts will not come back so soon. You know how fast Spectre King is. Even if he can escape, he will not come back so fast." Meng Li's eyes flickered. He thought about it and said, "I have a lamp here. It is a rare treasure. If I can get to the exit, I will give it to you. Also, you have seen the power of my flying sword. I will send someone to find it and give it to you." Flying sword? Lu Li was surprised. Then he put on a smile. The interspatial ring on his hand glowed, and a green sword came out. He waved it and asked, "Are you talking about this one?" "What?" Meng Li's eyes were wide open as if he had seen a ghost. Without his order, his flying sword would keep attacking Spectre King until the energy in the sword ran out. How did Lu Li get this sword? Wait a minute. Meng Li stared at the small sword and found that it was surrounded by black fog. He tried to control the flying sword, but he felt that there was no spiritual connection between him and the flying sword. Spectre King. Soon he figured it out. It must be because of Spectre King. Spectre King had used ghost energy to cause problems with the sword. The ghost energy might have corroded Meng Li's spiritual imprint and affected the glyphs inside. That was why the sword was now a piece of junk. He could no longer control it. Naturally, Meng Li could no longer attack Spectre King. That was indeed the case. After a while, the sword fell down by itself. Since Feng Biao was being chased by Spectre King, he had no chance to put the sword away. Lu Li took advantage of this. Playing with the small sword in his hand, Lu Li said with a light smile, "I picked up this sword. It is mine now. Don't you think it is shameless of you to trade with me with something that belongs to me?" "You..." Meng Li was so angry that he almost spat out blood. Lu Li was really shameless. A glint of red light rose in Meng Li's eyes as he asked, "You can't do this or that. What do you want?" "It's simple. Destroy the pellet yourself." Chapter 22:17. The destruction of the elixir was not a big deal for Meng Li. The Hell Palace had many top-level elixirs. As long as the elixir was not destroyed for several years, the Hell Palace could help Meng Li recover, and it would not affect his future cultivation. Destroying the elixir was not a big deal. Letting Lu Li leave the Hell Island was not a big deal. The key was the escort. It would be fine if it were a regular escort. But clearly, Lu Li was taking Meng Li as a hostage to escape from the Hell Island. What would happen? Meng Li's reputation would be ruined, not only for himself, but also for the Meng family. More importantly, his beautiful image in Su Yuqin's heart would be ruined. He would never have the chance to win her heart again. For him, this was worse than death. His great-grandpa was one of the most powerful warriors in the Hell Palace. The Meng family was a big family. Disciples of famous families had their pride and dignity. Meng Li's seniors told him that he would rather die than be humiliated. Therefore, without any hesitation, Meng Li said, "Fourth brother Lu, if you want to leave in safety, I promise you that I will do it. But you want to take me as a hostage? That is impossible. I would rather die than be taken hostage." "Ha ha ha." Lu Li laughed and said coldly, "That is not up to you. If you want to die, you can kill yourself now. Don't dawdle like a girl." Whoosh! Lu Li wasted no more time. He flew over. The bead of ghost glowed, and a ghostly shadow whooshed out. Lu Li knew that Meng Li's soul must be protected by an enchanted soul, but he wanted to see if the ghostly shadow could break it. Swish! At the same time, Lu Li released the Slayer's ghost cut. The worms of the void flew out from his body. Meng Li was strong in his own right, and he had some treasures. Lu Li had to be careful. Even a lion would use all its strength to catch a rabbit, not to mention that Meng Li was not a rabbit. Hoi! The saber in Meng Li's hand suddenly slashed out. The saber light fluctuated like water ripples, and the layers of water ripples swept through the space. Its power grew stronger and stronger, looking like a landslide and a tsunami. The saber light and the water ripples collided. The surrounding space shook violently, and a terrifying shockwave radiated in all directions. Meng Li's attacks were ferocious. Lu Li's Ghost Slayer was destroyed easily. Luli's worms of the void and Phantom both came. Phantom was the fastest. He reached Meng Li at once. The three lamps around Meng Li flew up to protect his body. At the same time, he took out the flag, which emitted a murderous aura and whistled towards the ghost shadow. Wu, ghastly shadow, let out a painful howl, but it still continued to rush towards Meng Li. After being attacked by the three lamps, Ghastly Shadow once again howled in pain. Ghastly Shadow also became translucent, obviously suffering from injuries. The ghost shadow had no consciousness, so would absolutely obey the orders of the Ghost Pearl's owner. Therefore, although it was injured, it did not hesitate and continued to rush forward, entering Meng Li's body. Ha ha! Meng Li sneered. He had an enchanted soul in his soul, a 5th rank enchanted soul. Since Phantom dared to go into his soul, it was asking to be humiliated. It was courting death. These worms, Meng Li focused his attention on the worms of the void. Like Commander Chao, at first, he thought they were ghost worms. The worms of the void were in shadows, and they looked like ghost worms. On a closer look, it was different, but Meng Li did not care because he thought that these insects were also soul bodies. His 3 lamps and flags could attack both soul bodies and physical bodies. Besides, he still had a demon's soul. Phew, phew, the flag flew over. The murderous aura swept over a group of worms of the void. The dark gold worms of the void died one by one. The dark ones, well, the worms of the void could still survive. The 3 lamps flew over. Another group of worms of the void was killed. Some of the dark ones were killed as well. There were too many worms of the void, and they were fast. Still, many worms of the void entered Meng Li's body. At first, Meng Li was not concerned, but soon his expressions changed. The worms of the void did not go to his soul. Instead, many of them went to his internal organs and began to gnaw at his physical body. Woo-woo, Phantom whooshed out from Meng Li's head. The ghost's face was filled with pain and fear. It was weaker. Clearly, Meng Li had suffered serious injuries. Blood Fairy, let Phantom come back, Lu Li ordered. The bead of ghost glowed, and Phantom came back. The enchanted soul in Meng Li's soul was stronger than Lu Li had imagined. Phantom could not kill it. Since Phantom could not be killed, then it was pointless to let Phantom go on. Instead, it would hurt Phantom, and it would be troublesome for Phantom to recover. Hiss, hiss, Meng Li's face was twisted. He was trembling. His facial expressions were ferocious. Cold sweat ran down from his forehead. The worms of the void were gnawing at his internal organs. Even though his internal organs had been refined in a special way, the dark worms of the void were too strong. His internal organs could not stand it. Even though they were gnawing slowly, Meng Li was still suffering. Okay, Lu Li nodded. He kept releasing the Slayer's ghost cuts. Meng Li was being attacked by the worms of the void. He could not even look after himself. His reflexes must be slowed down. Meng Li was injured. The more he attacked, the more serious his injuries would be. When Meng Li's injuries were serious enough, it would be easy to take him down. As a matter of fact, if Lu Li were to take the risk and engage in close combat, there was a good chance that he could injure or even kill Meng Li. That being said, Lu Li was worried about the 3 lanterns. Hence, he chose a safe strategy. Boom, boom, boom. Lu Li kept releasing the Slayer's ghost cuts. At first, Meng Li could use the ripples to survive. But later on, he could no longer stand it. The worms of the void were attacking him all the time. The pain slowed down his reflexes. Boom, boom, boom. After more than a dozen attacks, Meng Li could not stand it anymore. He was smashed to the ground. His armor was strong, but it was broken by the Phantom Master. Therefore, Meng Li had to rely on his physical body to withstand the Slayer's ghost cuts. Lu Li did not stop even though he was smashed down. He released the Slayer's ghost cuts again and again. Not only the mountains nearby were shattered, but there was also a pit. Is this the end of me? Meng Li's eyes dimmed down. He did not have much ability to fight back. The only thing he could do was to use the 3 lanterns. However, as long as Lu Li was not close, the lanterns could not fly far. Suicide. Meng Li could not make up his mind several times. It was easy to die, but if he died, there would be nothing left. He, Meng Li, would be erased from this world. His glory, wealth, his beloved woman, his career, his family, everything would be gone. If he did not die, then he would be captured. Not only would he suffer humiliation, but his family would also be shamed. He would never be able to raise his head in the underworld unless he left. Whoosh! Chapter 22:18. Meng Li let out a heart-wrenching cry. If the bite of the worms of the void was like a slow-acting poison, then this time, it was more like a poison. Meng Li felt his soul was being torn apart. Meng Li's eyes turned red and his face twisted. He had never suffered such a serious injury in his life. He had practiced many times and suffered some injuries. Compared to this, they were more like scratching an itch. Buzzing, Lu Li mobilized a large amount of energy from his acupoints and poured it into Meng Li's body. Meng Li's energy channels and soul were sealed. Lu Li was afraid that Meng Li would seek his own death. His divine pellet, energy channels, and divine energy could explode. He could also use some special means to destroy his soul. Meng Li cannot die. If he did, Lu Li would not be able to escape. Meng Li was his amulet. Lu Li had to keep a close eye on him so that Meng Li would not do anything stupid. "Let's die together," Meng Li yelled. He tried to control the three lamps to attack Lu Li. However, he realized that he could not control the three lamps. His soul was sealed and his spiritual connection with the three lamps had been cut off. Young Master Meng, go in and have a rest." Lu Li took out the mountain and put Meng Li in. Then, he asked Blood Fairy to control the immortal's body to monitor in case Meng Li was seeking death and to prevent him from playing any tricks. The mountain was one of the 9 mysterious mountains, and the immortal's body was the body of Emperor Z. Meng Li might be able to see through this, but Lu Li did not care. He did not want to let Meng Li leave alive. Even if he did, Meng Li's soul would be damaged and he would become an idiot. This is good. Lu Li turned to the 3 lamps. They must be treasures. The flames on the lamps were horrifying, and he dared not to touch them. Unfortunately, Meng Li was not dead yet. He could not take control of the lamps. It would take him a long time to do so. Lu Li put away the lamps, and then put away Meng Li's saber and the flag. He could not take control of the saber and the flag. He had to put them aside. Buzzing, he took out a small green sword. It must be a broken piece of a sovereign weapon that had been refined by a powerful warrior. Now, it looked more like a complete weapon, but not as powerful as a sovereign weapon. I'll think of something later. Meng Li could not control the small sword after it was attacked by the Phantom King. It would take Lu Li even longer to control it. He did not have the time now, so he put it away. Xiao, he soared into the sky and found a small hill nearby to rest and heal his wounds. Most importantly, he had to figure out one thing. What should he do next? He had captured Meng Li, but it did not mean that he could easily leave Hell Island. If he wanted to leave Hell Island, he had to leave the Ghost Valley first and then teleport out of the Ghost Valley. The problem was that there were 10 powerful elders in the Ghost Valley. For example, Elder Hua, who was ranked first, was said to be a powerhouse of the Hell Palace. He had been banished here because he had done something wrong. What if he left Nether Soul Valley and that Elder Hua instantly killed him? Or perhaps they used some strange divine ability to suppress him at the first moment. If that happened, he probably wouldn't have the chance to order Blood Fairy to control the immortal's corpse to kill Meng Li. If the Void Worm could enter Meng Li's soul, it would be fine. However, the Void Worm couldn't enter Meng Li's demonic soul. Where should he go if he didn't leave the Ghost Valley? There was only one exit, and it was connected to the Ghost Valley. If he lingered here for too long, powerful warriors of the Meng Li family and even that great patriarch would show up. No. Soon, Lu Li made up his mind. He must leave as soon as possible. He must be the first to leave the Ghost Valley. In this way, he could catch the 10 patriarchs unprepared. He could not give them any time to prepare, or else he would be killed as soon as he left. If the Meng family set up a formation, or that great patriarch came in person, Luli would lose his life as soon as he left the Ghost Valley. He had to leave the valley at once to have a chance of survival. Buzzing when Luli was about to get up, he felt a slight fluctuation in space nearby. Luli felt goosebumps all over his body. He used psychic power to check at once and found someone that surprised him. Feng Biao. How could Feng Biao escape from the Ghost Master? How could he find them so quickly? But Feng Biao was badly injured. His body was covered in scratches, and he had broken bones. One of his hands was hanging down. The bones must be broken. His other leg was trembling as well. The bones must be broken as well. Charge! After a moment of hesitation, Luli flew up from the hill and charged toward Feng Biao. Since Feng Biao was an enemy, Luli would not show any mercy. Whoosh! What surprised Luli was that Feng Biao ran away without any hesitation. Feng Biao was determined. He didn't seem to be playing hard to get. He was really going. Go after him. Luli's heart skipped a beat. Feng Biao must have known that Meng Li had been taken down by him. Was that why he was in a hurry to go back and inform Meng Li? Luli spread out his dragon wings and went after Feng Biao at the top of his speed. Buzzing, however, at that moment, Feng Biao's body glowed, and then he sped up. In a few blinks, he vanished into the distance. Luli couldn't even see his back. What kind of skill is that? He must be several times faster than me. Feng Biao was only at the peak of the third tribulation. His speed could be comparable to the middle stage of the fourth tribulation. Normally, this was impossible. Either Feng Biao had learned some special escape skills, or he was burning his essence blood to increase his speed for a short time. Go! Luli had no other choice but to go on. He must get to the exit before Feng Biao, or else the exit would be sealed and he would not be able to get out. Phew, tens of thousands of miles ahead of Luli, Feng Biao was flying like an aurora. Luli was right. He had used a powerful skill to burn his origin blood essence. In this way, he could be sped up in a short period of time. After he escaped death from the Phantom King, he came to find Meng Li at once. He found Commander Chao's body. At that time, he already had a bad feeling. Now that he saw the battlefield nearby, he understood everything. If Meng Li was dead, then there was no need for him to run away. He would die anyway. Meng Li was not dead, so he still had a way out. He must bring the news back at once and ask Patriarch Yang and the others to figure out a way. Feng Biao's injuries were too serious. Since Lu Li could kill Commander Chao and take down Meng Li without any injuries, Feng Biao was no match for Lu Li. Rather than courting death, he might as well go back and deliver the message. He could atone for his crime by meritorious service. He was burning his origin blood essence, which was valuable. He might have to rest for dozens of years to replenish his origin blood essence. But if he didn't, he would have to die. He had no other choice. He kept burning his origin blood essence to fly at the top of his speed. It should have taken him several days to get to the exit, but he arrived in one day. Plop! When he saw the teleportation portal, he fell down. He was on the verge of passing out many times, but he made it through. Now that he saw the teleportation portal and the team of warriors guarding it, he could not hold on any longer. I am Feng Biao, working for Patriarch Yang. Take me to Patriarch Yang. Something is wrong. Also, block the teleportation portal. Chapter 2219. Patriarch, who hadn't been in closed-door cultivation recently. He had been playing chess and drinking tea with Patriarch Yan all day long. The two of them were waiting for the news that Lu Li was killed or Meng Li was in trouble. Patriarch who used to be one of the powerful warriors of the Hell Palace, and he was inextricably linked to the Su family. His mother was a young lady of the collateral branch of the Su family. Later on, he did something wrong and offended a senior of the Hell Palace, so he was sent here. He had been here for 10,000 years. He suspected that the big shots of the Hell Palace had forgotten about him. Therefore, he was looking forward to something happening here. For one thing, he wanted to see the fun. For another, he wanted to see the upset faces of the senior leaders of the Meng family. The senior leader he offended was a big shot of the Meng family, Meng Li's third grandpa. This man was also one of the patriarchs with real power in the Hell Palace. Whoosh whoosh. From the depth of the valley came a team of warriors. They were carrying a badly mutilated man. All of them looked anxious, which attracted the attention of many people in the Ghost Valley. Feng Biao is in a coma. Patriarch Yin used psychic power to check. He looked at Patriarch Hua in surprise and said, Patriarch Hua, you are right. Something happened to Meng Li. Lu Li is so unyielding. His fighting ability is so strong. How can Feng Biao be hurt like this? Old Hua's eyes also revealed a strange light, and then a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. He said, that kid is really unexpected. It seems that Meng Li was either killed or captured. I think it is more likely that he is captured. This is going to be fun. I will go out and have a look. Patriarch Yin flew out. The Patriarch's mansion outside was already in an uproar. Apart from Patriarch Hua, all the other patriarchs came out. They all knew that Feng Biao went to protect Meng Li. Even though some patriarchs didn't like Meng Li, it didn't mean that they didn't want anything to happen to him. Elder Yang's expression was extremely ugly. He was the one in charge here, so everything would be on his head. He looked at the unconscious Feng Biao, made up his mind and said, Brother Chun, wake him up. A patriarch took action. He poured divine energy into Feng Biao's body. He even gave him a pellet. After a while, he slapped Feng Biao's back. Poof! Feng Biao spat out a mouthful of blood and opened his eyes. His face was extremely pale, as if he had just suffered a serious illness. When he opened his eyes and saw Elder Yang and the others, he took a deep breath and said, Elders, something has happened. We encountered an underage Spectre King in the Nether Demon Mountain. In order to protect the commanders, I could only forcefully restrain the Spectre King. I was lucky enough to escape from the Phantom King, and when I went to search for the other commanders, I discovered Commander Chao's corpse. I also discovered that the second commander and the first commander were engaged in battle, and the battlefield was a complete mess. I don't know if the second commander is alive or dead. I suspect that the first commander has destroyed his divine elixir and taken him captive because there are strong remnants of divine power near the battlefield. After the great commander discovered me, he chased me for a long distance. I had to burn my blood essence to escape. Feng Biao was objective. Of course, he only stated the superficial facts. He didn't mention the real cause. For example, Meng Li, Commander Chao, and Commander Long wanted to kill Lu Li together. Feng Biao believed the patriarchs could figure it out. Phantom King, Commander Chao, was killed. The second commander's divine elixir was destroyed. Elder Yang's expression became extremely unsightly. The other elders also panicked. They didn't care about the lives of Commander Chao and the others, nor did they care about the immature Phantom King. What they cared about the most was the life and death of Meng Li. If Meng Li were to die, they would lose their lives even if they didn't. Meng Li was the most outstanding disciple of the young generation of the Meng family. If he were to die, the entire Meng family would be enraged, and so would the higher-ups of the Hell Palace. Someone, without any hesitation, Patriarch Yang shouted, seal off the entrance to the Valley of Ghosts at once. Nobody can go in or out. Now that something had happened, they must deal with the aftermath first. Seal off the entrance so that Lu Li could not come out for the time being. Patriarch Yang could not make a decision on his own. He must report to the Meng family and ask someone from the Meng family to take command. In this way, he would be less guilty. If Lu Li were to leave the Valley of Ghosts and escape, then Patriarch Yang might not even be able to keep his life, let alone his position. Brother Chun, with that said, Patriarch Yang looked to a patriarch and said, go to the Hell City in person and find someone from the Meng family. Tell him about this and ask the powerful warriors of the Meng family to come here. Okay. Elder Chin's complexion turned unsightly. This task was completely torturous. What if the Meng clan's experts were to vent their anger on him? Patriarch Yun. After Patriarch Chun rushed out, Patriarch Yang looked at Patriarch Yun and said, please go with Patriarch Hua. Take some patriarchs with you and search for Lu Si first. If Meng Li is not dead, if there's a chance, please rescue him, Patriarch Hua. If not, follow that punk and wait for the Meng family to go in. If Meng Li is dead, bring Lu Si back alive and let the Meng family vent their anger. Ha, ha. I will go and talk to Patriarch Hua. Patriarch Yun smiled lightly and went into the castle where Patriarch Hua lived. Patriarch Hua didn't go out, but he knew what was going on outside. He smiled and said, "Interesting, interesting. Great Patriarch will not come. It should be Brother Meng and Brother Meng who will come. I'm looking forward to seeing Brother Meng's flustered and exasperated look." Then Patriarch Yun hesitated and said, "It's not good if we don't go in, right? This will give Brother Meng a sore spot and cause trouble for us. Let's go in, why not?" Patriarch Hua showed a meaningful look and said with a faint smile, "I really want to see that Lu kid. He also helped me vent my anger. Let's go in and take a stroll and lock the kid's position. Let Brother Meng do it." And in, Patriarch Yun nodded and then sighed with some pity. Lu Kid is actually a talent. He is much younger than Meng Li. He can kill Commander Chao and take down Meng Li. His combat power is very strong. If nothing happens to this person, he will be one of the strong warriors of our Hell Palace in the future. Unfortunately, he first offended Su Yuqin, and now he offended the Meng family. I am afraid he will not be able to escape this time. Will not be able to escape? The corner of Patriarch Hua's mouth once again revealed a meaningful look. He faintly smiled and said, "That may not be true. There's more than one exit in the Ghost Valley. If that kid can find that exit, it is not impossible for him to survive. However, that exit is too dangerous. Even if he finds it, he may not be able to successfully break out." "You mean?" Patriarch Yun's expression changed as he transmitted a message. "Patriarch Hua, this is not good. Do you want to secretly tell that kid about that passage? If this matter is found out by the higher-ups, it will be a crime of colluding with the enemy. I won't say it. He will comprehend it himself." Patriarch Hua smiled and said, "I will bring you guys to drive him over there. Whether he can find the passage or not will depend on his ability. Moreover, other than us, the other elders will not be able to pass through that passage. If he can pass through, then it will be his ability. Furthermore, if he passes through, he will still be on Hell Island. The chances of him escaping are as slim as before. However, when the time comes, this matter will spread throughout the entire Hell Palace. The Meng family's face will be ruined. Ha ha ha." Chapter 22:20. Damn it. Luli stared at the dim portal in front of him, annoyed. He had thought that Feng Biao could not keep flying by burning his essence blood. At full speed, Luli should have reached the exit faster than Feng Biao. Little did he know that Feng Biao would burn his essence blood and seal the exit. The seal meant that Luli could not get out. There were no other exits. He was like a beast trapped in a cage, waiting for the hunter to take his life. Yang Kai believed that it would not be long before the elders of Nethersoul Valley arrived, followed by the Meng family's masters. Yang Kai would be forced to flee like a stray dog until he was eventually killed in some desolate mountain range with no one to collect his corpse. Take it easy. Luli forced himself to calm down. The more he panicked, the faster he would die. At least, he had a hostage. If he played his cards well, he might have a chance to escape. After circling around the area, he decisively flew away. Since the exit was sealed, he couldn't stay in the vicinity. He had to find a good place to stay and think about how to proceed from here on out. He thought about it and flew towards the Netherworld Demon Mountain because there was a commander there, as well as an army there. Those were all bargaining chips. The more bargaining chips he had, the better the negotiation would be. He sped up to the extreme. The army was coming this way. If he didn't hurry, the army would arrive. By then, it would be difficult to catch them all at once. As he flew, Luli began to think about what he should do next. Should he find a place to hide? This was not a small place, but it would be hard for him to hide when so many powerful warriors were searching for him. Should he hide in the deep sea? But the Phantom King was there. The Phantom King would treat all humans the same. He wouldn't care if Luli was from the Hell Island or not. He would be hunted down. Luli could kill the Phantom King with the help of the Relic Iron. But for an adult Phantom King, Even if Lu Li could use the relic iron continuously, he wouldn't be able to kill the Phantom King. An adult Phantom King's speed was horrifying. Lu Li wouldn't be able to hurt it, let alone kill it. Therefore, he couldn't go to the deep sea. It was no different from courting death. Since he couldn't go to the deep sea, there were only two places he could go. One was the secluded Demon Mountain, and the other was the soaring Soul Cliff. The Netherworld Mountain had a young Spectre King, and the soaring Soul Cliff was another terrifying place. There were many specters there, and it was said that it was the place with the highest concentration of specters. It was rumored that there was a Spirit King there, the Spirit King. How powerful was the Dark Soul King? Lu Li didn't know, but regular ghosts were already so strong. If there really was a Ghost King, then it must be quite horrifying. His demonic soul might not be able to withstand it. If something were to happen to his soul, it would be even more terrifying than encountering the Phantom King. He had to find a strong terrain, a place where he could defend himself so that the enemy could not easily kill him. Then, he would negotiate with the enemy. Only then would he have a better chance. Of course, this was only what he felt. If the enemy was too strong and was on a completely different level, then all his schemes would be futile. For example, when a powerful warrior came, he could suppress Lu Li with his chi and energy so that he couldn't move at all, not even his soul. Then what was the point of doing anything? Along the way, Lu Li had been thinking of ways to go. No matter how hard he thought, he couldn't find a good place to go. Everywhere he went would be dangerous. It wouldn't be of much help to his situation. After flying for half a day, Lu Li stopped. He ran into that troop. That troop was lucky. They didn't run into the Phantom King. They were all taken down the mountain by Commander Long. Lu Li locked onto Commander Long with psychic power. A glint of coldness appeared on his face. This commander was on the same side as Meng Li and wanted to kill Lu Li. Now that he had run into Commander Long, Lu Li wouldn't show any mercy. He must take Commander Long down and make him accompany Meng Li. Buzzing, the troops sensed something was wrong as well. Several psychic powers were sent over. When Commander Long saw Lu Li, his expressions changed. This was because he had discovered Commander Chao's corpse along the way. At this moment, Commander Chao's corpse was still in his spatial ring. Meng Li was nowhere to be seen. Commander Long thought that the odds were against him. Now that he had run into Lu Li, how could he defeat Lu Li? Face the enemy. Commander Long shouted. He still had more than 1,000 troops. If they all attacked together and cooperated with him, they might be able to fight against Lu Li. Face the enemy? Many warriors were puzzled. Some of them had already sensed Lu Li. There was only Lu Li nearby and no other beasts. What kind of enemy was this? Whoosh! Lu Li flew over quickly. Seeing that Lu Li was staring at him coldly, Commander Long went back to his troop and shouted, "Everyone, attack Lu Si." Lu Si killed Commander Chao. He has betrayed us. He is a spy from another force. What? Everyone was in an uproar. They all saw Commander Chao's body. Commander Long said, Lu Li killed Commander Chao? He said Lu Li was a spy from another force? Lu Li was the chief commander, a hero in the eyes of average warriors. Uh-huh. Standing in midair, Lu Li chuckled. He glanced down and said, I am a spy? Commander Long, you can eat whatever you want, but you cannot say whatever you want. I once saved the goddess, and I have made a great contribution. Ask your brothers here. If it were not for me, how many of you would have died? I killed Commander Chao. Where's the proof? Is that all you can say? Chaos ensued. Half of the more than 1,000 warriors here were Commander Chao's subordinates. Many of them went to the Ghost Realm with Lu Li. If it were not for Lu Li, they would have died. That being said, the other half of the warriors were Commander Long's subordinates, and they trusted him. Therefore, the warriors began to discuss. Some believed in Lu Li, some doubted him, and some were completely dumbfounded. Lu Li said he once saved the goddess. Would a spy save the goddess? I can testify. A shout came. Hosen was still alive. He raised his hand and shouted, Commander Long did save the goddess, and he killed Xia Tianqing. Many patriarchs know this. If you don't believe me, you can ask Patriarch Yang later. Hosan's words confused more people. Seeing this, Lu Li knew what was going on. He glared at Commander Long angrily and said, "Commander Long, how dare you slander your superior? Did you kill Commander Chow? And then shift the blame to me? If I can't take you down and send you to the mansion of patriarchs, I will not be the commander anymore. Get lost. I want to arrest the traitor that killed Commander Chow. Everyone retreat. Let the two commanders terminate their contracts on their own." Hosin shouted and stepped to the side with several others. Seeing Lu Li coming at them in an aggressive manner, the others stepped back in panic. They didn't want to be involved in a fight between immortals. On one side was the famous commander, and on the other side was the commander that had led them for years. Chapter 22-21. The warriors stepped aside, which saved Lu Li a lot of trouble. Of course, even if all the warriors were to charge at him together, they wouldn't be able to defeat him. Lu Li dashed over, trying to inflict serious damage to Commander Long as soon as possible. Seeing that Lu Li was coming at him, Commander Long was enraged. Lu Li didn't use any weapon. Was he going to kill him with his fists? Commander Long took out a broadsword. He swung it in a semicircle and hacked at Lu Li's head with force. This move stirred up a gust of wind. It must be the fundamental principle of wind. With the help of the wind, Commander Long's speed was horrifying. Lu Li could predict the trajectory of Commander Long's attack with a trace of Tao. If he wanted to dodge, it would be a piece of cake. But Lu Li didn't. He just twisted his head to avoid the sword and used his shoulder to withstand Commander Long's attack. Life for life. This was Lu Li's favorite way of fighting. Of course, he was confident that Commander Long's attack could not kill him or even injure him. Commander Long was taken aback, but he didn't hesitate. He swung his sword at Lu Li's shoulder. He wanted to cut Lu Li in half. He didn't believe that Lu Li's defense was that strong. How could Lu Li fend off his attack with his body? The warriors around were stunned. Why were the two commanders so unyielding? They were going head-on against each other. Commander Long didn't even have any armor. He wanted to fight with his body. Had he mastered his supreme body? Boom! With two muffled sounds, Lu Li was knocked back for more than 100 feet. Commander Long was smashed away like a broken sack. Blood gushed out from Lu Li's shoulder, and Commander Long was spitting out blood as well. It seemed that both sides were wounded. However, the soldiers here were all experienced soldiers. How sharp were their eyes? They could tell right away that Lu Li's injuries were merely flesh wounds. His muscles were injured, but his bones were not broken. On the other hand, Commander Long's injuries were more serious. His chest was caved in, and many of his bones were broken. His chest was a mess, and blood was gushing out from his mouth. His body was trembling. Clearly, he was badly injured. One side had no armor or weapons and was barehanded, while the other side had armors and relic weapons. The two sides would end up in completely different situations. Xiao! Before anyone could react, Lu Li had dashed over like a gust of wind. Chief Commander Long finally realized what was going on. He swung his sword and hacked at Lu Li. Boom. Lu Li took another blow and punched into the blood hole on Commander Long's chest. Commander Long's internal organs were shattered. A person's internal organs were very important. If a mortal's internal organs had problems, even an immortal would not be able to save them. Commander Long's injuries were so serious that he could not stand it any longer. Seeing Lu Li rushing over, Commander Long put on a cold smile and said, "Commander, you want to capture me? What is it?" Lu Li smiled faintly. "Do you want to commit suicide? You can self-detonate now. I won't stop you." Commander Long wanted to commit suicide. He would rather die than be captured by Lu Li. Now that Lu Li had mentioned it, he had second thoughts. The more Lu Li wanted something, the more he didn't want Lu Li to get it. Lu Li wanted him to commit suicide, but he didn't want to. Whoosh! Lu Li dashed over and punched at Chief Commander Long's pellet. Then, Lu Li poured energy into Chief Commander Long's acupoints and sealed his energy channels and soul. Buzzing, Lu Li took out the mountain and put Chief Commander Long in so that he could keep Meng Li company. The warriors nearby looked at each other, speechless. Many of them had thought that Chief Commander Long was no match for Luli. Little did they know that Luli was strong enough to take down Chief Commander Long in 3 moves. Not only was he injured, but his pellet was destroyed as well. He was captured. Commander Long was taken down. Luli had a headache looking at the other warriors. If they were to confront him directly, he would either kill them or take them down without any hesitation. But now, he found it difficult to do so. Many of them were worshipping him. Their eyes were filled with passion, like those of a devout believer. How could he do it? Rest where you are. Ho-san, come here. Luli waved his hand. With Chief Commander Long captured, the warriors were without a leader. They had to listen to Luli. The warriors flew down uneasily. Luli flew to the side with Ho-san. Lord, have you killed Chief Commander Chow and Mengli? Ho-san was nervous or scared. Though he shared honor and disgrace with Luli, Ho-san still felt scared out of instinct when Luli committed such a grave crime. Yes, Luli nodded and said emotionlessly, I have killed Chief Commander Chow, Meng Li, and Chief Commander Long. One of the secret guards escaped. All the exits are sealed. Secret guard? Ho-san was surprised. He didn't know that there was another secret guard who escaped. The exits were sealed. How bad had the situation become? Boss, what should we do from now on? Tell me. I will follow you wholeheartedly. I will risk my life. Ho-san made up his mind. He had no other choice. He was Lu Li's man. If anything happened to Lu Li, Ho-san would suffer as well. It was impossible for Ho-san to clear his name. No. Lu Li shook his head and said, This is too dangerous. Later, you lead the team to the exits. On the way, you must accuse me of killing Chief Commander Chow and others because you suspect that I am a traitor. Once you run into patriarchs at the exits, you must report to me at once. In this way, you can save your life for now. Later, you must find a way to leave the Valley of Ghosts and the Palace of Hell. This place is not suitable for you to stay. Speaking of which, I have implicated you this time. Boss, but Ho-san felt bitter. Luli was trying to protect him. It meant that the situation was so bad that Luli had no confidence to protect himself. But on second thought, the Valley of Ghosts was sealed. Soon, patriarchs would come out, and powerful warriors of the Meng family would come in as well. Luli had no way out. The chances of him escaping were slim. Go. If we can all escape this time, and I can dominate an area in the future, come find me. I will give you a lifetime of glory and wealth. Luli waved his hand. Ho-san left with his teeth clenched. Luli rushed into the distance without any hesitation. It was pointless to capture these warriors. Those big shots wouldn't care about the lives of these warriors. It didn't make a difference whether they were captured or not. Where should I go now? Luli ran on in the wild, feeling lost. The ghost realm was vast, but there was no place for him to hide. He was like a bird trapped in a cage. He felt he would end up crashing into the cage if he tried to fly there. In a daze, Luli had been flying for 4 to 6 hours. He had been thinking about where to go and had forgotten which direction he was going. When he saw a huge mountain in front of him, he finally realized that he had come to the ghost mountain again. The most dangerous place is the safest place. An idea came to Lu Li's mind. The Phantom King of the Ghost Mountain had been discovered. They had fought here before. Maybe the powerful warriors who came to search for him wouldn't know that he was hiding here? Or there was more than one juvenile Phantom King at the Ghost Mountain? There was an adult Phantom King? Could he use the strength of the Phantom King to distract the enemies? Let me try my luck. Chapter 22:22. There were many demons and monsters on the Mount of Stealthy Demons. Some had been eliminated by the armies, and some were lured away by Feng Biao. But there were still many. Along the way, Luli tried his best not to fight monsters for fear of leaving traces. He was fast. The average monsters could not catch up with him. If there were specters, Luli would let Ghost Shadow come out and devour them. In this way, there would be no trace. When he was near the highest peak, Luli did not dare to move forward. He was confident that he could kill the underage Spectre King, but he did not want to provoke it for now. What if there was an adult Spectre King in there? He flew around, found a cave, and dashed underground. He planned to get Blood Fairy to set up a divine inscription dojo to conceal his aura, just like the one on the island where the corpses were all over. He was not sure that he could hide from the search of a fourth tribulation warrior with this rune plaza, but it was better than nothing. Wouldn't it be better if he could avoid being searched? The cave was deep. The deeper Lu Li went, the wider the cave was. It was as if there was an underground world. The cave was filled with cold and evil energy, which made Lu Li uncomfortable. Could it be that the auras of the spirit world are coming from underground? Lu Li had a question. He had planned to find a random cave to build the rune plaza. He did not expect that the deeper he went, the deeper he went. He felt he could not reach the end. Keep going. Since the underground was so deep, it might be a good hiding place. He could lie low for a period of time and wait for the people from the Hell Palace to be unable to find him for a few months. At that time, perhaps it would be easier for him to escape. He had to take it one step at a time. He walked down the cave. After thousands of miles, he realized that there really was an underground world down there. It was vast and boundless. The underground world was filled with black fog. Cold energy came from below. What? Lu Li was alarmed. A familiar energy enveloped him. He was taken aback. It was the Spectre King. It must be the underage Spectre King. Whoosh! From the black fog, a shadow dashed over. It was as fast as lightning. In an instant, it had reached Lu Li. Lu Li took a look. It was the underage Spectre King. Clearly, this Phantom King was cultivating here. Lu Li was looking for a place to hide in the cave, but he didn't expect to find the Phantom King's lair. Luckily, there's only this underage Phantom King. This was the only thing that Lu Li could be happy about. He took out the ghost bead. After a glare, a ghostly shadow appeared and whooshed toward the Phantom King. At the same time, the worms of the void flew out, and Lu Li took out the relic metal. Fighting against the Phantom King was no laughing matter. If he was not careful, he could end up being clawed to death by the Phantom King. He had seen the previous battle between the Phantom King and Feng Biao. The Phantom King's fighting style was very simple. It relied on its sharp claws. Their claws were so powerful that Meng Li's artifact battle armor could be easily torn apart. Lu Li's physical body was strong, but he wasn't strong enough to compete with Meng Li's armor. He knew that he didn't have many chances. He didn't want to struggle with the Phantom King. Instead, he wanted to injure or kill it instantly. Phew! The ghostly shadow dashed into the Phantom King's body at once and began to attack its soul. The worms of the void swarmed over as well, entering the Phantom King's body. There were too many worms of the void. Fast as the Phantom King was, it could not avoid them. Maybe, for the proud Phantom King, such puny creatures could not inflict any harm to it. The Phantom King was like a tiger to a swarm of bees. Buzzing. Seeing that the Phantom King was coming, Lu Li mobilized the relic metal. A surge of divine energy spread out. The horrifying energy froze the space around him. The rapidly flying Phantom Monarch stopped in midair, and his crimson eyes were filled with shock and horror. The Phantom King was highly intelligent, no weaker than humans. The might of the relic metal was too horrifying. Though the Phantom King was still underage, it could sense danger instinctively. Whoosh! The Phantom King didn't move, but Lu Li had already taken action. He dashed over with the unfettered steps. At the same time, he and the worms of the void ordered Blood Fairy to order Ghostly Shadow to attack the Phantom King's soul. Lu Li did not know how strong the Phantom King's soul was. That being said, the Phantom King was still underage. Maybe Ghostly Shadow's attack would work. Roar! A glint of pain appeared in the Phantom King's blood-red eyes. Clearly, Ghostly Shadow's attack had worked. Lu Li was delighted. He dashed over and smashed at the Phantom King's head with the relic metal. Wait! Lu Li suddenly realized something. Ghostly Shadow was inside the Phantom King's soul. Both the Phantom King and Ghostly Shadow would be doomed. Lu Li did not care about the Phantom King's life. But Ghostly Shadow was a powerful helper. He could not let him die so easily. If the Phantom King's head could not be hit, then where else could he hit? Lu Li thought about it. Soon, he saw the Phantom King's hands. The Phantom King's strength came from his hands. If the arms could be destroyed, then the Phantom King would be like a toothless tiger. Luli could do whatever he wanted to him. Roar, roar, seeing that Luli was smashing at him with the relic metal, the Phantom King, out of instinct, clawed at Luli. Even if Luli were to kill him, the Phantom King would drag Luli down with him. Bang! The godly metal viciously slammed into the Phantom King's claws, and the Phantom King's arms were instantly shredded. The two claws flew through the air, and the Phantom King let loose a howl of anguish. Hiss, hiss, Luli gasped as a claw scratched across his chest, leaving a deep wound. Even one of his bones was broken. The claws of the Phantom King were so sharp. Roar, roar, the Phantom King screamed and flapped his wings, trying to run away. Luli would not let the Phantom King go so easily. Once again, Luli mobilized the relic metal. All the divine energy in his body was drained. Luli dashed over and slapped at the Phantom King's back. This move was not as good as the previous one, because Luli did not have enough divine energy to make the relic metal unleash its full power. That being said, the Phantom King's wings were smashed into pieces. The Phantom King could not run away. Luli put away the relic metal. He grabbed the Phantom King's neck with one hand and smashed at the Phantom King's head with his fists. Bang, 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 bang. With a muffled sound, the Phantom King's head was smashed into a pig's head under Luli's punches. Admittedly, the Phantom King's defense was impressive. Luli had punched for dozens of times, but the Phantom King's skull was not cracked. There were only some cracks, and the Phantom King's face was covered in blood. Well, Luli had wanted to smash the Phantom King to death. But at that moment, he had an idea. He wondered if the Phantom King's claws could grow back. If so, maybe he could tame the Phantom King. An adult Phantom King could be horrifying. It was said that even patriarchs would lose their lives if they encountered one. The Phantom King was at least at the later stage of the Fourth Tribulation. If Luli could tame the Phantom King, it would be a powerful helper when it grew up. Buzzing, Luli took out the mountain and dragged the Phantom King into a hall inside the mountain. There were two people in the hall. Meng Li and Chief Longblood Fairy was controlling the immortal's body to monitor them. Buzzing, the hall began to tremble. Luli dashed in with the Phantom King in his hand. Meng Li and Commander Long glanced at it. Their bodies trembled, and then their faces were filled with shock. It was fine that Luli had captured them, but he had captured the Phantom King as well. Chapter 22-23. Meng Li had a deep memory of the Phantom King. He was almost killed by the Phantom King in one move. If it weren't for Feng Biao's help and his quick reaction, he would have been dead by now. Though the Phantom King was underage, he was strong. Meng Li believed that even an average Fourth Tribulation immortal could not kill the Phantom King, let alone capture it. How could Meng Li and Commander Long not be shocked when Luli carried the Phantom King in like a dead dog? While they were shocked, they had a new assessment of Luli's abilities. When Luli captured Meng Li, he did not use any powerful moves. He only used the Worms of the Void and the Ghost Slayer to injure the Phantom King bit by bit. It was the same for Commander Long. Luli was only using his body to withstand the Phantom King's attacks, risking his life. These are common moves. If that were all, Meng Li and Commander Long believed that Luli could not hurt the Phantom King, let alone capture him. So, Luli must have been hiding his strength? Or, Luli didn't see them as real opponents at all. He didn't need to use his trump card to fight against them. Of course, it was also possible that Luli had a piece of treasure that he did not take out when he was fighting them. Yes, Meng Li took a look at the immortal's body and nodded. He did not connect the immortal's body to Emperor Zi's body, but he could tell that the immortal's body was extraordinary. The mountain was a treasure as well. Meng Li could not tell that it was the 9 mysterious mountains, but a warrior of the Second Tribulation had so many treasures. This in itself was proof that Luli was not an ordinary person. Luli paid no attention to Meng Li and Commander Long. He stared at the Phantom King, thinking about how to tame this powerful beast. Others would not be able to do this because they could not communicate with the Phantom King. Luli had Blood Fairy. Blood Fairy could communicate with beasts. Back in the days, she tamed 2 beasts of primordial chaos. Of course, that was purely cooperation. This time, Luli planned to have the Phantom King set up a contract with him so that he could control the Phantom King's life. The Phantom King was still a minor, so it was the best time to tame it. When the Phantom King was an adult, it would be much more difficult. Powerful monsters all had their own pride, and it was not easy for them to submit. Luli looked at the Phantom King, who was covered in wounds. He thought about it and dashed into another side chamber. He tossed the Spectre King onto the ground and ordered the Void Worms to start gnawing on the Spectre King's body. He caused the Phantom King to suffer unbearable pain and have a mental breakdown. Buzz! Luli told Blood Fairy to come over and set up runes in this side hall in case the Phantom King would destroy this place. Though the Phantom King's claws were destroyed, his physical body was still strong. After the time for several incense sticks to burn, Blood Fairy laid out some patterns. Luli told the Worms of the Void to chew on Blood Fairy's body, while Spectre tortured her soul. He was going to torture the Dark Spirit King, both physically and spiritually. He was going to make the Dark Spirit King feel like it was looking at a demon. Only then would the Dark Spirit King submit to him. Such powerful monsters had their own pride and dignity. In their eyes, humans were just insignificant creatures like maggots. Do you think it's possible for a human to submit to a maggot? Only by completely shattering their confidence and pride could they be completely subdued. Bang! Luli threw the Spectre King away. The Spectre King crawled back up, roaring. At this moment, the Worms of the Void and Spectre were acting up at the same time. The Phantom King was in great pain. The Phantom King screamed, but realized that the Worms of the Void and Spectre were both in its body. The Phantom King was at a loss and had to charge at Luli. Boom! Without the claws, the Phantom King was no different from a toothless tiger. In addition, the Phantom King was badly injured. Its abilities were weakened in all aspects. Luli used the Trace of Tao to control the Phantom King's movements. He landed a punch on the Phantom King and smashed it away. Roar, roar, bang. Roar, roar, roar. Bang, bang, bang. The Phantom King charged at Luli again and again, only to be smashed away. Luli's punches landed on the Phantom King without mercy. The Phantom King was covered in cuts and bruises. The Phantom King was enraged. It crawled up again and charged at Luli. It had lost its claws, but it still had its teeth. The Phantom King wanted to bite Luli to death. However, its wings were broken. The Worms of the Void and Spectre in its body had been attacking constantly. The Phantom King was in pain all the time, and it was badly injured. How could it hurt Luli? Luli stood there coldly. Every time, he could smash the Phantom King away. Despite its small size, the Phantom King possessed great strength. Compared to the Phantom King was like a strong man and a bunny. However, when this little rabbit moved its hands, it could easily send the robust man flying. Admittedly, the Phantom King was strong. Even though it was badly injured and being bitten by the Worms of the Void and Spectre, the Phantom King was able to get up again and again. It took the Phantom King 2 hours to struggle. 2 hours later, the Phantom King could no longer move. It was covered in wounds, and the hall was covered in blood. Lying on the ground, the Phantom King panted like a dying dog, but its blood-red eyes were still staring at Luli, filled with hatred and anger. Buzzing, Luli took out the relic metal, but did not activate it. The relic had no more divine energy. Luli walked toward the Phantom King with the relic metal in his hand. Roar, roar, the Phantom King bellowed, but it was trembling and its eyes were filled with fear. The Phantom King was highly intelligent. Naturally, it knew that the artifact was powerful. Its arms and wings were all smashed by the relic metal. Luli took out the relic metal. Was he going to kill the Phantom King? Was he going to die? The Phantom King struggled to its feet and stepped back slowly. Its eyes were filled with fear. Clearly, the Phantom King was scared. It looked at Luli with fear as well. Maybe, to the Phantom King, Luli was no longer a puny human being, but a horrifying demon. Lu stepped forward, and the Phantom King stepped back. After a while, the Phantom King reached a corner. It had nowhere else to go. Under normal circumstances, given that there was no way out, this Phantom King should have rushed up to Lu and tried to take him down with it, right? However, the Phantom King did not move. It crouched in the corner, shivering. It was scared. Good. Seeing this, Lu let out a sigh of relief. As long as the Phantom King was scared, the rest would be easy. Blood Fairy came out of the wall, turned into a beam of red light, and rushed into the Ghost King's body. She began to communicate with him. Lu did not move. He stood in front of the Phantom King, expressionless. Holding the relic medal in his hand, he was ready to end the Phantom King's life at any moment. Time moved on. The Phantom King's eyes were flickering with shame, anger, mockery, unwillingness, and struggle. Okay. An hour later, Blood Fairy's voice rang in Lu's mind. The Phantom King agrees to surrender to you, but he must make a deal with you. After 10,000 years, you must let him go. 10,000 years? Ha ha ha. Lu laughed. 10,000 years was enough. By then, he might be stronger than the Phantom King. By then, the Phantom King would be useless. Chapter 22-24. Spectre King was highly intelligent. Naturally, it knew how to establish a contract with a warrior and become a spiritual beast. As a matter of fact, there were cases of Spectre Kings being captured in history. But later on, Spectre Kings learned their lesson. If they could not win, they would escape into the deep sea. Some time ago, powerful warriors from the Hell Palace were trying to eliminate Spectre Kings. This Spectre King was born not long ago. Its mother did not have the time to take it into the deep sea. Spectre King had to stay in the underground world. Establishing a contract was easy. Lu just had to give Origin of Soul to Spectre King. Once Lu controlled the Origin of Soul, he could establish a spiritual connection with Spectre King and control its life and death. Lu smiled after he consumed the source of the Phantom King's soul. Becoming a powerful warrior would greatly enhance his strength in the future. Blood Fairy asked him if his arms can grow back. I have some elixirs, Lu said to Blood Fairy. If Spectre King could not grow back his arms, then what was the use of Spectre King? To raise a good-for-nothing? Soon, Blood Fairy replied, yes, Spectre King said he can grow back his arms even without the elixirs. Spectre King's recovery is strong. Good. Lu nodded with satisfaction. He took out some healing elixirs and gave them to Spectre King. Spectre King swallowed them and then lay on the ground to heal. Lu put away the worms of the void and Ghost Shadow. Then, he dashed to where Mengli was. Mengli and Commander Long were taken aback. They looked at Lu with awe. They had acknowledged Lu's abilities to be able to capture a Spectre King. What do you want? Mengli looked at Lu in fear as he walked over. His wounds had recovered a bit. That being said, his pellet was destroyed and his soul was sealed. Even if he could recover physically, he would be a disabled man for the time being. I want to get some information. If you cooperate, maybe you won't have to suffer, Lu said with a smile. He waved his hand. Numerous worms of the void flew out. Mengli and Commander Long were taken aback. Those worms could kill people. They did not want to go through that kind of pain a second time in their lives. Humiliated, Mengli said, go ahead. I will tell you everything I can. Feng Biao escaped. Lu went straight to the point and asked, now that the exit is sealed, I think the patriarchs of the Valley of Ghosts and powerful warriors of the Meng family will come in soon. You too. Help me think of a way to get out. I just want to escape from Hell Island. As long as I leave, all of you will be safe. I can swear a blood oath on this. Feng Biao escaped. Mengli and Commander Long exchanged a glance, their eyes lighting up. The elders of Ghost Valley had probably already entered, right? The experts of the Meng family would probably arrive soon. When those powerful warriors were here, could Lu fly away? Mengli smiled faintly and said, Fourth Lu, you don't need to struggle. You can't escape. Either you kill us now, or else what awaits you is death. In front of a true powerhouse, You're just like a wild beast. If they want to kill you, it'll be no different from crushing an ant. Shio. The worm of the void flew over. Luli didn't want to waste more time. Mengli still dared to be arrogant at this moment. Then Luli would let him have a good time. The worm of the void flew into Meng Li and Commander Long's bodies and began to gnaw at them. The two of them cried out miserably and rolled around on the ground. In their eyes, there was unforgettable hatred. Luli stood on the side, calm and collected. He had always been cold-blooded and merciless to his enemies. Meng Li and Commander Long wanted to kill him, so he could torture them no matter what. Stop. In just a moment, Meng Li couldn't stand it anymore. Worms were gnawing on him. It was a torturous feeling. He was going crazy, and his soul was about to collapse. Commander Long, on the other hand, was holding on. He was soaked in sweat and trembling. He stared at Luli like a viper. Luli didn't tell the worm of the void to stop. If he didn't teach Meng Li a lesson, he wouldn't cooperate. Soon, Meng Li couldn't stand it anymore. He screamed and begged Luli to go around. Commander Long couldn't stand it anymore either. After the time for 2 incense sticks to burn, Luli told the worm of the void to stop. He walked over to Meng Li slowly, squatted down, looked at the maggot-like Meng Li, and said, "Can you tell me now? If you don't want to, we can move on. I can promise you that as long as I'm still alive, this will last for a long time." Phew. Meng Li glared at Luli with hatred. He made up his mind and said, "Give me some rest. I need to think about it." Luli nodded, but didn't stand up. He kept squatting and looked at Meng Li coldly. The latter closed his eyes and was in deep thought. After the time for 1 incense stick to burn, he said, "Fourth brother Lu, you want to take me away from the Hell Island. This is the right way, but it depends on who is coming from the Meng family. If it is my second grandpa, then you have a chance. If it is my third grandpa, he will not give you any chance. He is a well-known, cold-blooded killer in the Hell Island." Second grandpa. Third grandpa. Luli frowned and asked, "Where's your grandpa? Where's your father? Will they come?" "My grandpa died in battle." Meng Li smiled bitterly and said, "My father is not strong enough and his status is not high. He will not come this time. My second grandpa is very kind to me. If he comes, you will have a chance to leave. If my third grandpa is here, he will kill you and me. He will not allow anyone to trample on the dignity of the Meng family." As for the patriarchs of the Valley of Ghosts, Meng Li continued, "You can ignore them. None of them dare to do anything. If I die, they will be implicated. So, if you take me as a hostage, the patriarchs of the Valley of Ghosts won't dare to fight against you. Can your second grandpa and third grandpa kill me in an instant?" Luli asked a critical question. He had to be careful. He had never fought against a powerful warrior, so he had to make sure. "Yes," Meng Li said with certainty. "If you are not a warrior of the Four Tribulation, you will not have a chance to fight back if either my second grandpa or my third grandpa, especially my third grandpa. He knows about soul skills. It will be too easy for him to kill you." "Okay, I understand now." Luli nodded, looked at Commander Long, and said, "Commander Long, it is your turn. Do you have anything to tell me? We are sharing weal and woe. If I can run away, it means that you can live. If I die, you will die as well." I heard Commander Long thought about it and said, "It is said that there is a passageway in the ghost world that connects to a mountain outside the Valley of Ghosts. But that passageway is very dangerous. Those who are not patriarchs will die if they go in. Of course, this is just what I heard. I cannot be sure if it is true." Oh. Chapter 22-25. Whoosh! 8 powerful warriors were flying fast in the wild. The leader was the most powerful patriarch of the Haunted Valley, Patriarch Hua. His full name was Hui Yuanfeng. In addition to the 8 patriarchs, more than half of the army was here. They were searching for Lu Li all over the world. Patriarch Hua encountered the army led by Ho San. He didn't say anything about Ho San's complaint. He didn't want to care about the relationship between Ho San and Lu Li. He just flew to the haunted mountain with the 7 patriarchs after he found out the situation. Lu Li flew to the haunted mountain after he saw Ho San and the others. With the elders' speed, it only took them a day to arrive at the Nether Demon Mountain. Patriarch Hua and the others started to search the mountain. They didn't miss a single place and searched for every trace. Apart from Patriarch Yin and Patriarch Hua, who were not afraid of the important figures of the Meng family, the other patriarchs were afraid. Therefore, they were very serious. It was a pity they searched the entire Nether Demon Mountain, but did not find anything. Patriarch Hua went down to the cave where Luli went. When he came back, he didn't find anything. Where is the Phantom King? The patriarchs were confused. This was the lair of the Phantom King. He couldn't have left his lair unless he was attacked too strongly. Could it be that Luli had defeated the Phantom King or lured him away? Let's spread out and keep in touch with scouts. We will gather at the Haunted Mountain in 10 days. Patriarch Hua waved his hand, and the patriarchs started to search. Patriarch Yin didn't leave. Instead, he walked to Patriarch Hua. He looked at Patriarch Hua with suspicion and asked, "Patriarch Hua, did you find something?" "Yes." Patriarch Hua smiled mysteriously and said, "That kid is underground. He set up a good divine rune and hid his chi and energy. He thought I couldn't find him." "Haha, I see." Patriarch Yin thought about it and asked, "What should we do next? Should we secretly tell him to go to the tunnel?" Patriarch Yin knew what Patriarch Hua was thinking. Patriarch Hua wanted to see Third Master of the Meng family flustered and humiliated the Meng family. Therefore, he hoped that Luli could get out of here. As long as Luli went out, things would be out of control. In the end, whether Luli could leave the Hell Island or not, Patriarch Hua would have achieved his goal. Of course, there was a premise here. He couldn't let others get hold of him. Otherwise, old Hua and he would be in trouble. "There's no hurry," Elder Hua said with a smile. "Let's give him some hints later, and then we'll search around. If he can't even understand this, then just wait for the Meng clan to kill him." Buzz, a light flashed from Old Hua's space ring, and a specter appeared. Old Hua reached out and grabbed the specter in his hand. The ghost was originally a soul body, but now it was caught by Elder Hua like a duck. It had to be said that Elder Hua's methods were powerful. Elder Hua released a few divine powers, and rays of light enveloped the outside of the ghost monster. Elder Hua then suddenly threw his hand, and the ghost monster actually sank into the ground. "Let's go." Elder Hua smiled and flew up. Elder Yin seemed to be thinking and flew away. As for the specter, it quickly traveled underground. After traveling for tens of thousands of miles, it accurately smashed into a rock in the cave. Buzzing, the rock was the mountain. When the specter smashed into the rock, the mountain glowed faintly. Inside, Lu Li's hair stood on end. He tensed up. He used psychic power to check, and then he was stunned. There was a specter outside. It seemed to be bound by some special force. After it smashed into the mountain, it stopped moving and floated outside. "What is going on?" Luli was confused. He spread his psychic power to all sides at once, but he could not find anyone. He flew out from the mountain. Looking at the specter in front of him, he didn't know how to react. Buzzing, he released Ghost Shadow, and it devoured the specter. The force that bound the Valley of Specters disappeared. The specter was real, not an illusion. "What is going on?" Luli used the trace of doubt to check. There was no one nearby. The specter seemed to have come out of nowhere. He thought for a moment, then flew out of the cave and circled around the area. "Someone has been here." He found some traces nearby. Clearly, someone had been searching around. A rock at the entrance of the cave was broken. Luli put there on purpose. Someone had been here and then disappeared. Did a specter smash into the mountain? Luli thought quickly. Soon, he was sure of one thing. Someone had seen him, and it was a warning. Luli had no friends at the Hell Island. Why would this person help him? The person must be powerful to be able to find the runes underground and use such a powerful means to warn him. This person could be a powerful patriarch of the Valley of Specters. But why would this person help him? What was more, what was the point of warning him? Warning him that he had been discovered and that he should go somewhere else to hide? The Ghost Realm was only a small place. Where could he go? No. Luli suddenly shuddered. He thought of that ghost. This person could have used other means to warn him. Why would he go to such great efforts to catch a specter. Cliff of Souls. Luli yelled in surprise. He remembered the legend that Commander Long told him. There was an exit to the ghost realm, and that exit might be at the Cliff of Souls. Could it be a trap? Luli had his doubts, but soon he dismissed the idea. Judging by the means of that person, if he had taken action, he wouldn't have had a chance to run. He might not even notice when the mountain was sealed. Let's go. Luli was a man of swift and decisive action. He took out the map and flew toward the Cliff of Souls. While he was flying, he pondered. He was getting excited. Not much time had passed. It should be a patriarch of the Valley of Specters. The Meng family should not be here yet. Someone among the patriarchs of the Valley of Specters might have a grudge against the Meng family and hoped that Luli could escape and embarrass the Meng family. This was a good chance. Before the Meng family came, Luli must reach the Cliff of Souls as soon as possible. Then, he would have a chance to escape from the Ghost Realm. As for what to do after he left the Ghost Realm, how to leave the Hell Island, Luli didn't think about that. It was too far away for him now. If he could not leave the Ghost Realm, he would die for sure. Such a pity. Luli used psychic power to check the mountain. The Phantom King had consumed Luli's elixirs and was growing out arms and wings. However, from the looks of it, it would take at least 10 days to half a month for it to grow back. It would take at least half a month for it to recover its combat strength. You are overthinking. Soon, Luli forced a smile. So what if the Phantom King grew claws and wings? After all, this was an immature Phantom King. It could only kill average 4th Tribulation warriors. Powerful warriors of the Meng family could kill it easily. Let's go. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.